Rock stars. There is literally nothing like those wild parties. All I did was drink and party and go to rock concerts.
So I got VIP access to a certain very hot rock star's room.
This was getting a little intense for my liking.
What's your problem?
Okay.
Look, bitch, I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but you're no better than the rest of us.
Hey, come on, you gotta go. I'll call you.
Hey, what would you say if I were to tell you that rock stars like Terry would pay for your attention and you would be a multi-millionaire because of it?
Real Talk.
Hey, I'm Gina Lou, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hey, what's up? It's Logan Browning, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Real Talk.
Hi, this is Alana De La Garza, and you're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, I'm Diane Franklin from Better Off Dead and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures. You're listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
Hi, this is Monique Dupree, and you are watching Real Talk with the Director on Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, I'm Stormy Maya, and you are listening to Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
This is Vicky Judy. Orange is the new black, and I'm here with Real Talk.
Yo, what up? This is Jay Ellis, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio. Keep it live.
Hi, I'm Frida Parks, and you're listening to Real Talk Radio with the Director. Hey, I'm Issa Rae, and you're watching Real Talk with the Director on Dollhouse Radio.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And nothing less. What's good? Welcome to another edition of Real Talk. The Director and the Jedi Council. I'm the Director. Be with you for the next 120 minutes or so. Real Talk brought to you each and every Monday by B2S Media. We broadcast live via the World Wide Web on the IE Network via YouTube. And of course, the social network itself, aka Meta, Facebook, and Twitter. They're not so about to be bought by, no longer about to be bought by Elon Musk Twitter. So, welcome back again. Another day. It's the 8th of August. Shout out to everybody who had birthdays. Special shout out to my homegirl, my ace, my homie, the beautiful, the one and only one hot DJ, aka DJ Stacey Styles. Happy birthday, lady. Hope you enjoy. And we'll catch up later. Shout out to everybody who's celebrating birthdays this week, today, this month. Shout out to everybody out there. Cool. So yeah, we got some stuff to get into. We're going to talk about DC. So DC is going to be, Warner Brothers has supposedly formed this 10-year plan that they're going to put for DC. They're going to form DC Studios, kind of like a Marvel Studios, where they can have a dedicated group of people just working on DC. So that, we'll talk more about that in depth, but that alone, to me, is music to my ears. However, now we wonder what is in the future for DC as far as films go. Is it, they said they did have their plan, and we'll talk about that. Part of their 10-year plan is to focus on the main three, the Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Like, they're gonna definitely go with that. So does that mean, do we get another Man of Steel flick? Do they do a complete reset and get another, get new actors? We'll see. Also, we'll go over a little bit. We didn't start our tournament yet, but we're getting everything. There's a big deal that we're doing here because there's a lot of, factors that come into doing this tournament. So we'll get everything set up. Probably start the tournament somewhere later in the month because I know Ralph is going to be absent for maybe 1 or 2 shows. So we'll start in later in the month, but we'll get some things tightened up, maybe get the seating set up and go forward with that. Also, Raising Kanan, Power, Book 3, Raising Kanan is due set to premiere next Sunday, the 14th, I believe it is. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If I get a chance, might be able to get Heaven Hollywood on. We could talk a little bit about preview of Power, Raising Kanan. We're looking to book a couple of, they got some new faces this year. One new face is a friend of the show, China Lane. She is in the series, I believe. If I looked forward, I think she's in about 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes. So she's pretty good look in this one. So we're gonna try to get China back, get her back here talking. I mean, she's not gonna be saying nothing about the show really, but let's get her in and see because she's doing some big things too. As of right now, she currently has a film called In Broad Daylight that's currently streaming on Tubi and like TV One and all that. So she's doing her thing. I think Shad Moss is in that, aka Lil Bow Wow. he made an appearance in there, but actually didn't do bad. Well, Bow Wow's actually not a bad actor. He's not that bad of an actor. I won't say that bad. He's not bad of an actor. So check it out. But China did her thing in that. I really liked that film. We did promote earlier. If you just came in, we promoted earlier with the show. Right before the show started. Dollhouse Radio will be having anniversary night, and we had that up. We'll put that graphic up again and promote it. Shout out to Dollhouse Radio, of course. The foundation, we started this show, and then we kind of got on Dollhouse Radio when we were doing it on Blog Talk Radio. So that's extended family right there. So we always gonna show love to them. I'm gonna once again go to a little commercial break and show the promo that they put up there. Actually, one of the co-hosts, I think, for that night is none other than my brother, Heaven Hollywood. I think they're gonna have him up there. So should be fun. Make sure y'all check that out. Support India, support Dollhouse Radio. And like I said, I'll play that back during the show. Last but not least, I did say the DC thing. What else did we say we was gonna do? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But just in, and we'll talk about it when I bring her up. Just got this from one of my peeps. Just in, Ezra Miller has been charged with felony burglary for allegedly stealing bottles of alcohol. Now, someone in my chat said this, and I'm going to quote them. What the hell type of alcohol did he steal to get a felony charge? And right on time, DC with their 10-year plan. Here we go. They got to deal with this now. This is something that has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with swift. But we'll figure out what's going on. The weekend recap is brought to you by BoxOfficeMojo.com. Of course. I'll just run that for the weekend of August 5th through the 7th. Number 5 is Minions, Rise of Gru. Made $7.1 million. Thor Love and Thunder still doing their thing, $7.7 million. Nope. Made $8.5 million. Brings it now to right under $100 million. See, this is what, and it's only been released domestically in theaters. Domestically, that's it. No international run there, at least not yet. DC League of Super Pets, $11.1 million. And that brings the total gross to $83 million worldwide. And Bullet Train, that's the new film in there this week. And it's made so far $30 million domestic, $32 million international, a total of $62 million worldwide. So there you have it. that is your weekend recap for the weekend of August 5th through the 7th. Yeah, all right. And of course, we want to say rest in peace to Miss Olivia Newton-John, who we just got uh, word that she passed. It's all over everywhere. And you know what? While we're at it, we need to really, really send some positive energy and good thoughts and prayers and whatever it is that you send out to Anne Heche, and because she's got into that car accident and is in critical, they said, really critical condition right now, onto like a ventilator or something like that, they said. And yeah, so send some positive energy, sending positive vibes, sending prayers, and let's just hope Anne could pull through. And it was a terrible accident, so we'll definitely keep y'all posted on that. But this Ezra Miller, I mean, gee whiz, dude. Like Warner Brothers they just can't get out of their own way. Meaning, like, soon as they announce something, then something else happen. So we'll see. Let's bring in Ralph here from the Jedi Council. Shout out to the chat room too. What up, Ralph? Shout out to the chat room out
What's
there,
up, everybody?
What's good, man? What's good? How you doing? Oh man,
I'm good. I am doing well.
You said me a heaven side the same.
doing
Oh
the
wow.
thing.
I guess so. We grew up in the same household, so we got a lot of things in the same humor. Say we got our little inside jokes, and we grew up. When you grow up in the same household with people, you tend to have the same type of lingo, same type of inside jokes and language and stuff. But shout out to you. Thank you very much for coming through. Joseph, of course, always holding it down. We appreciate you. Hopefully, we have last time and once again, y'all gotta excuse me. I'm not in my normal studio surroundings, so for another couple of weeks, we're gonna be doing it from the temporary studio, and so you may have some residual sound and things like that going on out here, dogs barking and stuff like that. So, well,
I know, like, damn, man, what's going on?
Yeah, man, it's a lot going on. So I'll try my best to, hopefully it doesn't happen while I'm talking. So if it happens when I'm not talking, I'll mute my mic. That'll be that. But hopefully, I was trying to say the young lady that was in our chat room before, was it Doris, right? That was her name. She was and she was in the chat room, and she's doing like an event, like a Comic-Con event.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I want to definitely, hopefully she comes back in.
Yes, please, Doris, come back.
Come back in, because she did send me her flyer, and I do have her flyer that I will promote whether she comes back in or not. I'm going to promote it because it's this weekend that's coming up going forward. So yeah, definitely come in, Doris. Hopefully you come in and we can promote your event. It's really cool. She's doing a Comic-Con event that's gonna promote. It's like a back to school thing in her area, and it's going to promote reading, kids reading.
That is a beautiful thing, man.
That's a beautiful thing. That it don't get no better than that. Wow. When you have somebody that's, and truth be told, she's actually like I don't want to say what she is because I don't know, I'll leave that up to her, but she's like a political figure head in her community, very active in the community, one of the leaders of the community, and they're doing this thing at this community center, and they're gonna have like a whole event. It's a family event, and I will put the flyer up. Her area, she's actually from I think it was like Arkansas or something like that. I'll bring it up and see. But either way, it's a beautiful thing to promote reading to the youth, doing it through comic books and a Comic Con event, because everyone knows that Comic Cons right now are one, they're some of the most biggest things that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Comic Cons, I mean, the Comic Con that's in San Diego is one of the biggest events of the year. All the other ones are great too, but they fall second tier.
Yeah.
They fall on second tier. But it's the San Diego Comic Con. That is the
that's the benchmark.
That is the benchmark. So it is great because comic book collectors, such as myself when I was younger, and Kevin, and shout out to Jay from Heroes to Icons, who still collects. We've been going to Comic Cons for years since they started having them, but it become this. It's obviously with the mainstream and everything that blew it up, and it's a good thing. It's become this huge phenomenon now. With the movies and all that. Ever since the movies came into play, and Marvel Studios and DC and all that. So it's a great thing, like Comic Con, being able to cover Comic Con or being able to just go is a great thing. So taking that big now phenomenon and bringing it down to your area, implementing it to the youth that probably watch these things on the internet and stuff like that and never had a chance to go to a Comic Con, depending on the area, because her area, I believe I want to say it was right. It might not be, I'll get it right, but her area, who knows if they even have a Comic Con there,
Yeah.
Because you got, obviously, San Diego's the benchmark, but you got the New York one. There's several ones that happen in New York. Big Apple,
which is this weekend.
This weekend, right?
Big Apple's this weekend coming up.
Yeah, and then you got, of course, the New York Comic Con. So there's a few of them. Those are the two biggest ones probably in New York. But then, do they still do Wizard World? Do they still do the Wizard World Comic Cons? Remember they used to do those?
No,
they don't do those no more.
One.
No.
The only ones I know of, I mean, you have the New York City Comic Con, you have Chiller, that's in New Jersey.
Of course.
You have Winter Con, which I think is near West Point.
Yeah.
Right, you have those. I know Long
those
Island
are big
has
ones.
Comic Con.
Yeah, and like I said, every major city starting to have one somewhere in a state. Like in the state of Florida, Central Florida, their biggest Comic Con is called the MegaCon. Right, that's one that they do in Central Florida. It's a big one for Florida. A lot of people come out there. They get some good, like the last couple. I did a couple of those because with my comic, I did a couple artist alleys. Like I ain't no artist, but I'm a creator. So people are like, yeah, can you draw me a picture? No, I can't draw you that, but I can sell you this pre-drawn.
I can draw you a picture of a square.
I can sell you this pre-drawn picture that I had my artist draw. But no one wants to tell. That's just like what was that movie with Kevin Smith movie with Ben Affleck, Chasing Amy. No, Chasing Amy, when him and they were play, they were comic book artists, but it's like they made the so you got the people still, you got Ben Affleck and you got the dude who's his boy, and they both, Ben Affleck is the artist, he does the drawing, and his boy does the inking, he's the inker. So they're just like, I don't want an autograph from you. He's like, what? I'm one of the artists too. He's like, yeah. Do you draw the book? He's like, no, I'm the inker. He's like,
you're a tracer.
Yeah, you're a tracer. He's like, no, I bring out the true definition of the art by, putting the shadows in and this, that, and the other. He's like, he pulls the guy next to him and says, let me ask you something. If you take a picture and you draw over that exact same picture, what is that called? I don't know, tracing. Yes, thank you, tracing. He's like, you're a tracer. I don't want your autograph. I want an autograph from the actual artist. So, yeah, but anyway, yeah, so that's how I felt when I was at MegaCon, because I'm like, well, I created the comic, so people would I got a lot of love just being a Black creator of a comic book, Mike Tyson came. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't want to lie on myself. It was one of Mike Tyson's drivers or whatever, and he had came through, and he was like, "Yo," he said, "Are you gonna be here all weekend?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Cause I drive for Mike Tyson, and he's out here. I don't know if he's coming in, but he wanted me to come in and grab some books, for him. And he said if there's any black creators or any artists or whatever. He said, "Are you an artist?" I said, "No, I'm not an artist. I'm a creator. I created the book. I hired the artist. I wrote the story." I said, "I did actually letter the book. I put the word balloons in, which is a very tedious process when you do it." Um, so, but who else who better to do that than the person who actually wrote the words? So I put the word balloons in. But anyway, so the guy comes back like I
I don't
I,
know,
I didn't
man.
see him.
That sounds like another thing from Clerks. Like, man, no, you're a proofreader. You're a proofreader.
Yeah, proofreader.
You're a
I
proofreader.
Yeah, when you put the lettering, if there's no letterer, there's nothing to read. There's nowhere to the word balloons, the boxes, and all the words that's in the comics has to be placed in there, artistically, made where it's not distracting, but it flows, and then you have in a certain way you have to put it because people read from left to right, from up to down, and stuff like that. So you gotta certain ways you gotta do it. It's a little art to it, but no, nothing like an artist. But anyway, so anyway, the guy came back like 2 days later, and the last day, I didn't see him no more, so I thought he was, I guess he came back like, "Yo, man," he bought like whatever I had left at my table. Like he bought a lot of stuff. He bought like one of everything. I had some artwork. I had the books. I had one book, and I only had the first issue. Had some artwork, some sketches, some original sketches from my homeboy, an artist who unfortunately passed away. He passed away before that happened too. My man Mike Newton, and he drew. He and I came up with the original concept for my comic, and he drew the original artwork, the original sketch work for like the first 3 pages.
Mhm.
So what I did to kind of honor him, and this dude is like trained by he trained with the great Will Eisner and Frank Miller. You know what I mean? So like he's official. So yeah, Frank Miller was like one of his teachers at the School of Visual Arts. You know what I mean? So
Wow.
and Will Eisner was his teacher. Frank Miller was a substitute because Will Eisner was obviously still working in the business. So when he couldn't teach the class, Frank Miller would teach it. So it's like, what the hell? Because Frank Miller learned under Will Eisner. Will Eisner is the creator of the original The Spirit. He had that book, and he's a big comic book legend. And he did a lot in the industry, helped a lot of people, and he was real big, for his time. And he could have been Stan. He could have been Stan Lee. But Stan Lee had something about him that most comic guys didn't have. He wasn't afraid of the limelight. He wasn't afraid to talk to people. He wasn't afraid to be in front of the camera if he had to, or be the voice, of the product. Even though Stan Lee, truth be told, didn't come up with all of these. He came up with a lot of the ideas, but not all of them. You know what I mean? But because his name became so synonymous with Marvel, he became, Stan. So Will Eisner, matter of fact, Mike told me this story that Will Eisner tells all of his classes, or he told all of his classes. He was saying that, yeah, let's get this out of the way. I am the man who passed up Superman. He said, "Yeah, I passed on Superman. I didn't think the concept would work. I guess Steele and Schuster came to him, or whatever the case may be, and Yeah, he passed on Supes.
I know
So
that stings. That still
yeah,
stings.
that's the even though he went on to make himself a good career and he things like that, but yeah, that's gotta sting a little bit,
Absolutely.
just a little
Why?
bit.
A
That's a
lot.
little bit. Like De Niro. Yeah, you insulted him a little bit. Yeah, that stings a little bit. But anyhow, so Comic Cons are big, man. I hope she comes back in and we get a chance to, but we'll still promote it anyway. So let's start with the um, DC 10-year plan thing.
I'm gonna be
I'm
honest
trying.
with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. I get DC. They got a 10-year plan. However, because of DC, it's not a 10-year plan. It's not even a 20-year plan. It's a 10-minute plan. Because 10 minutes later they're gonna mess it up with something else. Watch.
Well, here's the deal. Now I'm gonna be honest with you. Now the what's his name? Zaslav or whatever his name is, the new CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. He has some big plans and ideas, and he's just saying, well, but the first thing he's doing, I admire. He's trying to establish that there is he's not going to be like how Walter Hamada and all of them trying to be what they're not. Too much hands on the DC property when they don't know anything about making comic book movies. Nothing. So that's one thing. Um, so he wants to build. The first thing they want to do is build a DC Studios, just like Marvel built Marvel Studios. And yes, it's under Disney, and Disney that's how these guys want it to be with Warner Brothers Discovery. That DC Studios is under Warner Brothers, and that's it. That is it. So that's the first thing. I agree with that. That's what you should do. Keep the executives, the latte drinking, whatever you call them, guys, out of
Oh, well, I said
out of it.
the latte drinking, yoga pants wearing, ankle tattoo having executives that
Yep.
they don't really know what they have.
Keep them
Bougies.
exactly. Keep them out of it. And that's what this guy seems to be trying to set up. So that's a good thing. That's a really good thing. That's a step in the right direction. Another thing is they said in their 10-year plan that they do plan on focusing on a lot of the the main three, and we call them the Trinity, which is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Those are going to be their main, because I mean, hey, they're a staple in the culture, right, of comic book films. You can't slack on that. So that's one thing they said. They also got they got another lineup of films that they're gonna go with. As of right now, they're saying that, and I had it up here. Let me just look. As of right now, they're saying that the movies that are on the slate, as we know, are the ones that are scheduled to come out, and they're going to still release them. So you got Black Adam, of course, is coming out on October 21st of this year. Then we got Shazam: Fury of the Gods, which comes out around Christmas this year, 21st to be exact. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom comes out March 17th, 2023. The Flash comes in June of 2023, allegedly. And Blue Beetle, August 18th, 2023. And just announced like a week or so ago, the Joker Folly Ado. Is that what it's called? Um,
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
already look.
October 4th,
I'm
2024.
you know like
So
from what I've heard that this second Joker movie is gonna be like a musical. I'm already
yeah,
seeing.
yeah.
Um, I kind of sort of like the idea of Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but that's who she's gonna be. She's gonna be Harley Quinn,
Well, yeah, it's no spoiler. Everyone knows that's what they were hiring her to play,
right?
Harley Quinn. Obviously, specifically because she's a singer, and they're talking about having. Now, this is what I'm saying, and I am not. I don't know what the story is going to be like. I know Todd Phillips did a great job the first time around. However, I believe
Yeah,
so I have no idea what the story is going to be, but this singing stuff, musical, is obviously going to play out in his head because you got think remember he had a lot of things going on in his head that was revealed near the end of the movie, like that whole relationship with Zazie Beet's character was null and void, like that was in his head. He had no
true.
relationship with her. You know what I'm saying? So, matter of fact, remember he walked in her apartment and she's like, "Why are you in my apartment?" You know what I mean? Like, so
That's
that whole
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's all. That was all in his head. Um, they left a lot of vague things to make you try to understand which way, where were they going with it. We don't know at the end, like when he's talking to the psychiatrist, I mean, as far as we know, he killed her. We think he did. At least was he even talking to her? Was she even alive while he was in there? Like, and that little talking with her could also been in his head because he runs out of there and he's running. The inmates are literally running the asylum. He's running amok. He runs out, and I think they're chasing him. Right? There was like
Yeah,
guards chasing him, and he's got his feet are bloody or something like that. Like you see blood traces of
that's
blood
true.
and stuff.
The bottom is bloody.
Right. So he obviously killed that doctor he was talking to, but you know, who knows? Like a lot of that stuff played out in his head. So even the stuff that went on with the stuff that was going on with Robert De Niro's character, some of that stuff he was watching and imagining things, and like, so it was really cleverly done, right? So the only thing I see kind of like this happening that would somewhat make sense is that he is now that most of this takes place in Arkham, and he is now like kind of like what's the word, conducting this whole thing, and it's like, but they basically taken over the asylum, and a lot of things that are happening is really happening in his head, and at the same time, him and his people are just killing people or something like that. It's got to be something like that, and Harley Quinn will probably come in because let's for the people who may not know Harley Quinn's background. See, Harley Quinn actually was a doctor at an Arkham at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she's assigned to him since he killed that black woman he was talking to in the first one. Maybe Harley becomes his new doctor. She falls in love with him and helps him escape. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
More than likely, she's gonna help him
but I
escape. But the whole musical
but
part,
I
like I
was
said, I'm
like,
not in on that. But like I said, I believe the only way that he's going to make that even happen is he's gonna have to make it like it happened in his head. Like all this stuff that they're not really singing, that's just in his head. You know,
I don't know.
in
Because
actuality,
they're saying this is gonna be a musical. I could see
well, yeah,
the musical parts, but you saying
yeah,
it's a musical. I don't.
yeah. If it's a full musical, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like we said, we mentioned Olivia Newton-John. Speaking of musicals, passed away. Rest in peace to her. But there was this fan theory. I don't know if you ever saw that. It was on the internet. It was a fan theory about Grease that the entire movie of Grease, that Sandy, the character, was never alive in the movie. The entire movie took place like either like
And John
she's like
Travolta's
on
there?
life support. Well, yeah, because what they're saying is that Sandy died at she drowned. Remember, he says, "I saved her life. She nearly drowned." So it's like the theory is that Sandy drowned, and this whole she's like on life support or whatever. This whole thing of Grease that's going on is just in her head, right? Because it just being such a coincidence that they meet up. She's from Australia. Wherever they met at some beach over the summer, and then just a coincidence she goes to his school, and then at the end when they're flying away in the car, because remember that whole weird part happens at the end when the car goes up and starts flying away. They're like, that's her dying, like she's going, she's ascending now. So it's like the whole movie.
You guys got too much free time out there.
Yeah.
I got way too much free time out there.
That was the theory. That's been around for a long time. They're like, yeah, because, and there was something else they said too that made it like part of their theory, where they just like yeah. So that was the whole thing. Yeah, they're like, so that theory of Sandy really actually did drown. She he didn't get a chance to save her. He tried to, and he did try to save her, which is why he is in the dream, because she met him, and she, whatever happened, she drowned. He tried to save her. He was like her hero, and then that's why he's in the dream. And the whole movie is a dream.
Yeah, you guys out there got way too much free time.
Well, I mean, I guess they're trying to figure out why, because I never understood, and I never liked the ending of Grease. I never liked that car flying off into. I thought that was stupid. I always thought that was stupid.
Agreed.
Agreed. I never liked that. I was like, why did they do that? Like, like it will always be together and stuff like that. Okay. But once again, part of that theory. That's why the song will always be together. Blah blah blah. She flies off into the freaking clouds with Danny or whatever. I always thought that part was dumb. And I think the whole theory was probably based on that ending. Had that ending not been in the movie, then these people probably wouldn't even conceive this theory, because people were like, why did the movie end like that? Why did they drive off in Grease Lightning, and Grease Lightning starts flying in the air, and they're just like looking back at everybody, and everybody's like, bye, and they're just flying off into the sunset. And it's like, that alone, okay, the theory about dying is obviously a little extreme, but that alone makes the whole movie to me seem like a fantasy. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't really happen. It's like a fantasy. Why did that? Why? Why would that? That's what I thought. I didn't think about the whole dying thing. I just think, like I said, people were just building off that to try to justify the ending, saying, well, that's why the ending was like that. There's theories about those all. I think they're amusing though. They have one about Scooby Doo as well. They have one about the Rugrats.
Oh Lord.
And the one about the Rugrats, Scooby Doo one actually is believable that they're high. Shaggy,
yeah.
Shaggy and Scooby are high all the time. That's why they always want to eat. And Shaggy's high all the time, and then Scooby doesn't really talk, because Shaggy only talks. He doesn't only talk to Shaggy, but I'm just saying they're like, no, they don't really talk, man. They're high. They had one about the Rugrats too, which was real dark as well, about the kids dying, and also they're just crazy. These people are wild. But anyway, yeah, that threw me off. But I kind of went on to that theory, man, with Olivia Newton-John. But anyhow, rest in peace to her. That movie is. But I have to say though, I always thought that was stupid. I always thought that ending of the movie made no sense whatsoever. There's no justification for it, and that was dumb. But whatever. It was Grease, so I guess people let him get away with it. So back to the DC thing, right? The question is this going forward. Number one, how are you going to deal with there was an article that Zaslav or whatever his name is, they're pretty much kind of distancing themselves from the Snyderverse. That's what the indication is, right? And okay, fine, but like now, like I said, the question remains going forward. Now, what are you gonna do? Okay, you have there's no real question with Batman because you have a Batman, right? You have that new Batman, if that's what the one you want to go with. Are you going to do the different? Are you going to use the Flash movie to reset the DC universe? Are you going to use the Flash movie to separate it into different universes, kind of like what Marvel and Sony is doing? Because you got now Sony has the Spider-Verse, right? That's Sony's, and Marvel just chips in sometimes and does what they do. But the Spider-Verse belongs to the movie rights to it belongs to Sony. So you got the Spider-Verse. So they're thinking, okay, will you keep per se a version of the Snyderverse where it's like, okay, we like Jason Momoa as Aquaman, so we're gonna keep him. We like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, so we're gonna keep her. Whether or not they can always choose to not keep Ben Affleck because they do have a Batman and a story going with a Batman. So, but I mean, if you're gonna keep that version of him in order to whatever, that these are the questions that they have yet to answer. And because think about it, The Rock, I mean not The Rock, but yeah, it is The Rock, but Black Adam,
Dwayne,
right? Black Adam and Shazam both reference the Snyderverse. They both reference characters that from the Snyderverse, especially Shazam. They did it in the first movie, and this movie, literally in the new trailer, there's shots of Aquaman and Batman, and there's shots of these people. Yeah, so the new Aquaman movie now reverts back to Snyder's version of Batman, because now we found out that Ben Affleck is he is in Aquaman. He just, he's in it. There you go, Aquaman. Jason Momoa got busted. He busted himself. And now the cat's out of the bag. Now, originally, it was supposed to be Michael Keaton's Batman. However, all of that got messed up when they had to push back the Flash. And so that the Flash was supposed to be the first time you saw Michael Keaton's Batman. And whatever happens in that movie was supposed to kind of maybe bring Keaton's Batman into whatever, our Earth or whatever the case may be. But regardless, whatever was supposed to happen in the Flash movie was the only reason why Keaton appeared in Batgirl, and he was supposed to appear in Aquaman. So because to make it make sense, they went and grabbed Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne or Batman. Now the picture of him and Jason Momoa, he's kind of like, got the 5 o'clock shadow, and he's in a suit, so he's obviously in Bruce Wayne mode, right? So he's in Bruce Wayne mode at that point. We don't know if he is in the Batman costume at all in Aquaman. He might just make an appearance as Bruce Wayne. But regardless of the fact, this is all still part of the Snyderverse, at least somewhat. So the question is this for Warner Brothers, and I'll ask you this, Ralph. If Warner Brothers hire you and say, listen, man, this is what do you think we should do? Should we completely reset? A complete reset consists of recasting all of the characters, and you don't have to, maybe go with this Batman that they got, Battison. Maybe go with that Batman and reset the rest of the universe. Start over, do different movies, 10 years down the line, do another Justice League movie and pray that people forget the first Justice League. That's consists of a reset, right? um, second option would be to.
That's a lot to ask for. That's a lot to ask for.
That's a lot to ask for. Second
that is
option.
A lot to ask for.
Second option would be to continue the Snyderverse, not restore the Snyderverse, but continue the Snyderverse, meaning you're taking the best parts of the Snyderverse and going forward. So you're not fulfilling Zack's vision per se. That would be restore the Snyderverse, right? Restore the Snyderverse would be you just follow Zack's vision, and obviously in a perfect world, hire Zack back, to carry out the vision. But the continue the Snyderverse would kind of be more like, okay, we're not recasting Gal Gadot, we're not recasting Ben Affleck, we're not recasting Jason Momoa. We're gonna go forward. They're gonna have to recast Ezra Miller because he's an idiot. But and then of course third option is to restore the Snyderverse. What do you think? What direction are you leaning towards? Your new you just started. Today is your first day at Warner Brothers. What direction? They brought all this to you and left it at your
first
table.
Of all, let me look at my office. Well, first we gotta do something about that DC, about that Marvel plaque on the wall. We gotta do something about that because that's sending the wrong message.
And here's the final question. Just final question to those. We'll get to that after your answers. The next question is something that we already kind of discussed. Who is heading this up? Okay, go. Just in your opinion.
My first in job, right? Personally, I think you got to do a little bit of all three. I think you got to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit. Right.
Interesting.
Taking away the Snyderverse. I think you do keep core elements of the Snyderverse. You certainly keep Gal Gadot. You keep Jason Momoa, and the characters that's within those two's films. That stuff you keep. Now,
keep
when
them.
it comes
Okay,
to
within those films, you got all of those characters that appeared in their films. Right.
You keep that stuff. Now,
recast Amber Heard.
Amber Heard got to go. Ezra Miller got to go. Right. Yeah. There's just no get about Ezra Miller. Before, actually, you might have to cast Ezra Miller before Amber Heard, because Amber Heard, you could whittle her part down.
Yeah.
Right. Until you find someone to place it. But Ezra Miller just got to flat out go.
He got to go.
So I think you keep the motif of the Snyderverse, while at the same time changing the motif.
What about Cavill? Do you bring back Cavill as
now? Here's the problem with Cavill. Do you bring him back? I say yes, you bring him back. If for no other reason is that this man had listen, Man of Steel came out in 2013. Right. Jennifer Lopez has had more rings put on her finger than you've seen Superman on the screen with Henry Cavill since then. Right.
Mm-hmm.
You do bring Cavill back. And the question that comes is at this stage of his life, does he even care about coming back Superman? I think part of him wants to come back because there's been so much fan interest in him.
Yeah.
Because he did just such a
unfinished
damn good
business.
job.
Yeah. Unfinished business.
And I think he was rightfully robbed. Robbed. So you do
make the deal. Robbed.
Right. You do make the deal to bring back Cavill. Now, when it comes to Affleck, because like you said, you do have a brand new Batman that, for all intents and purposes, he was pretty damn good. I have to give Rob Pattinson credit. I thought he was pretty damn good, right? And with
I thought he was pretty good.
Right. And with that being said, now as far as Affleck, I think you bring Affleck back, maybe not in Batman, but I see no problem because this man has a familiarity with this unit, with the Snyderverse. He has familiarity, and he's probably can adjust himself to new. Do we say, you know what, we're going to do it in the Justice League, and we want Ben Affleck to direct it? You keep him in the. I think some way you keep Affleck in the family fold of
Mhm.
the DC universe. He may never come back
Mhm.
on the screen as Batman, but if you do,
Mhm.
if you're trying to copy Marvel, where there's multiple versions of the DC universe, maybe you do
Now,
keep
now,
Ben Affleck around as as
now,
as as a backup plan.
right,
But
as a backup player.
yeah, but I think you do keep him in the fan fold and offer him a direction to direct. It may
Mhm.
not even be just to direct a DC movie himself.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you make him happy that way because like
Right.
you write it, you develop it, you produce it, will distribute it, and just and I think you because of his resume, not because he's been hurt, because of his resume, you kind of sort of take the reins off of Ben Affleck. You let this man do,
Mhm.
because let's be real, he's made a couple of movies, and all of them have either been nominated for an Oscar. They've all
Or
been
one.
great. They resurrected his career, all of them,
Mhm. Yeah.
all three.
Whenever he
Now,
has
now,
like full control, or whenever he has a real hands-on of the movie is excellent. You know, like whenever he has like a
yes,
real
yeah. So
hands-on on the movie turns out to be an excellent film. And like you said, I
so
want to
you
throw
so you step
one
back.
thing in there before you continue. It's something you said that just made me laugh, because this is why DC comic fans, or DC fans, the ones that consider themselves more fans of DC than Marvel, this is what frustrates them, because you made a statement. You said if you want to copy Marvel and make all different universes, that's not completely accurate, because DC had always did the multiverse before Marvel. They just never did it in
Very
the movies like they were
and
supposed to.
so
Yeah.
for that reason, it will be seen as
Yeah.
your copy, because
And no, it's
once
going to be
again,
seen. It's going to be seen that way, and that's their own fault. They've always had
yes,
the
it is.
property under the same umbrella. Marvel had years before they were able to round up everybody. Now they're
Yes,
starting to rein everybody back in, bring everybody. But you had the stuff right there under your nose. You only did it in the television verse, the television universe, where but DC, from the comic books to television, they've always had the multiverse. They not always, but they've had it before Marvel. But once again, they let Marvel, because they just couldn't get out of their own way. Warner Brothers couldn't get out of their own way. Marvel prospered from it. The only thing they beat Marvel, they beat Marvel to two things. One was Wonder Woman, by putting out, a female-led superhero movie. They beat Marvel to that. And then they beat them with Aquaman. By putting out Aquaman, they beat them with the Submariner. So now,
yeah.
Namor the Submariner, they changed the name. They're not even calling it Atlantis. So you're not confused with the Aquaman stuff. It's called something else. They changed it. They changed the name, and like where it's located and stuff like that, to kind of fit the story that they're doing, and changed his culture a little bit too, to the more Mayan, more ruins, Aztec type of deal, right? Um, but that's also due to the fact that for once DC beat them to the punch,
That's
and
true.
put out Aquaman. Had they have not put out Aquaman, this would have been called Atlantis. They wouldn't have changed the name.
Yeah.
They would have called it Atlantis.
Now,
You know.
now with that
Yeah.
being, with that being said, now here's the other problem: is that theoretically speaking, you have three separate DC universes going on. You got the Justice League, and all those characters, which is, you want to say, the Snyderverse. Then you got Pattinson's version of Batman, which is this person's universe, and then you got this version of Joker, which is this
The
person's
Joker.
universe. And somehow
Yeah.
you and well, I guess you could say the Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn is in the Snyderverse.
It's in the Snyderverse. Yeah.
Snyderverse.
It
Okay.
most definitely is. Ben Affleck was in the movie.
Yeah.
Remember,
So
at the
yes.
end credit
Yeah.
scene, and
Yeah.
he was in the movie and in the end credit scene.
Right. So now you got three separate universes. Now you got to try to tie them all together. So you keep Patterson, and then you got to figure out a way to bring Phoenix into this thing also, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the trick is going to come in, right? Now, other little things in there as you introduce other characters, right? And you always have to keep I always feel you got to keep the movie separate from TV. So whatever you're doing with the DC cartoon movies, that's a separate thing. That's totally different than the
mean,
live
that yeah,
action,
the
right?
cartoon movies are different from the live action, but I mean, to be honest with you, it could all go together if they. I mean, Marvel's proven it because think about it. Marvel took elements of What If and put it in the Multiverse of Madness, and it was fine. It translated fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
but
took
see,
it
but
took
see,
elements
yeah,
from
but
what
see,
and they're
but
doing a more they're doing stuff from that, right? Like they took Captain Carter that was in the What If story and they put her in. Spoiler alert: if you haven't seen Multiverse of Madness, go on Disney Plus and watch it. But they put her in the Illuminati, Captain Carter, as a version of the Illuminati, and as Captain Carter. So they literally, and people love
yeah,
that
but
part
see,
about
here's the thing with that one. Yeah, but see, here's the thing with that one. That means I got to give Warner Brothers a whole lot more credit than what they deserve right now. Maybe if you get this whole thing jump started and it's working, it's like starting to fire on all cylinders. Then you start
it. Yeah.
expanding it out a little bit
I
more.
mean, yeah,
Like,
you could
oh,
wait
okay,
on it, but what I mean is it can be done. You could wait on it, but it can be done. The thing is, and I don't think the television series. I never thought the television series should have been. It should have been to me. It should have been interactive, just like what Marvel's doing with Disney Plus. It should be interactive. It should tell more stories, backup stories, or more context to things, and it all should interweave. They had the opportunity to do that. They never did. They decided to keep, the DC television properties separate from the movies, and to me, didn't make sense. But yeah. But now here's an answer to your
so
what you said. You said
that's the
somehow you
problem.
got to bring it all together, right? So uh,
Hmm.
the only way you can do it is once again Marvel beat them to the punch. It's gonna look like they are copying Marvel when the the Flashpoint storyline has existed well before any of this stuff. They even did the animated movie about it, Flashpoint Paradox, right? Um, that would be
Right.
the
But
way
here,
how you
but wait,
bring everybody together.
but before you, but see, before you go with that one, when it comes to this issue with Flashpoint, which I have guess is what the Flash movie that's coming is, right?
Probably.
You and I'm only saying this because they just did, which I'm still don't know if I'm agreeing with the idea of shelving Batgirl, that you have a movie that's in post production and you're just shelving. Not for nothing. If you, I look at it like this: if you're going to do that with Batgirl, then you need to do the same thing with Flashpoint. Because I mean, right this minute, you don't have any idea how much this movie is going to make or how much or is going to pull in because of the stuff with Ezra Miller, right? That is not, it's not like he's playing a secondary role. He's the lead, you know. And now you're just saying today he gets arrested off of felony drug liquor charges, which means that he was trying to sell a bottle of Louis the 14 because that's $2,500. That's the felony, right?
Yeah.
Or it was some cases of wine that he was stealing, probably trying to take it off a truck that was loading up a store.
What an idiot.
But my point is that
What
he
a
has so now he has so much negative baggage around him that it has the potential to
yeah.
distract people from going to see this movie, right?
Well,
And
they did.
so now you got to
Will it
say,
will it distract them? Let's say if they could find if he could find a way to keep his behind quiet and out of the spotlight. It seems like it's hard to do. Remember, this movie is quite a ways away. It's like it's what's it 2 years away now? It's supposed to
no,
come
it's
out in
a
20.
year. It's supposed to be next
Okay, it's a year away. Next
year.
June, so it's a
Next
year
year.
away. Right, but a year, a lot can happen in a year. If they could keep his
You ab-
behind quiet and out of the spotlight or out of the whatever.
But once again, we had to give Warner Brothers more credit than what they deserve, and we got to get Ezra Miller a whole lot more credit than what he deserves. I don't know that one. I don't know that one, and I think that maybe it has gotten to a point where Warner Bros. Say we're gonna have to eat this one too. I don't agree with the idea of
they spent
shoving.
over $200 million on this film. You're gonna eat a $200 million bill?
Hey, hey, hey! Did they not just eat a $90 million bill?
Yeah, but
What's
that's
another
nothing. That's
110 when you bring?
yeah, man. But whew,
See,
200 at
and
least
it,
it
and
was
it's
more than 200 million.
and
But let's just say 200 million, round it out, whatever.
but nah,
You
I think, or I mean, because there's no way you're gonna recast him and reshoot his scenes. There's absolutely no way you can do that. None. If he was a secondary role, I would say yeah,
Mhm.
release the movie because his role doesn't impact. But now he is the lead.
So are you saying
His face.
scrap? So you're saying scrap this movie because he's in it. So shooting a new movie or recasting him and reshooting the movie is the same as eating the money. But now they're spending more money to reshoot the movie because they recast him, but they're still eating that money.
But I think
What about that?
right. But what I think happens is if you scrap, if you let's just sit there and say for sake of argument, you do decide to eat Flashpoint, but then you say, well, we really got to have Flashpoint to connect our stories. So you recast Flash and you do it all over again. At least with that, although it's not what you really hear from a business standpoint, but at least now you can sit back and now you've seen your universe start becoming more into focus. And
Mhm.
maybe you streamline it where it doesn't cost you $200 million. Maybe now you're down to $140, a buck
Mhm.
50. Who
Yeah.
knows? But at least you get the chance to
Right.
sit back and now different elements of your world is coming into focus, and maybe it
Mhm.
comes to a point where you don't need because I mean, realistically, I think the draw for most of us is not that it's the Flash movie, is that you were bringing Michael Keaton back. That was the
Mhm.
draw because that's what they made it seem like in the trailer. Like, oh my God, Michael Keaton back in the
Mhm.
in the helmet. Well, now if you do it later on, yeah, Michael Keaton now is too old to do it. He's too old. Do you
Mhm.
have it
Well,
where now instead of
yeah,
Michael
yeah, yeah,
Keaton,
yeah.
it's Ben Affleck?
It's Ben Affleck,
You know what I'm
right?
saying?
I mean, but here's the deal. Now, with the Flashpoint story in mind, right? They still have a lot of options. The funny thing is, I don't even know if they willingly or knowingly did it. They actually kind of, the reason why a lot of fans were calling for Grant Gustin to replace Ezra Miller because they kind of set it up in the TV show. The TV show had a multiverse. It was called the Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? And there was a scene in the TV show where Grant Gustin's Barry Allen ran into Ezra Miller's Barry Allen. Ezra Miller made a cameo on the TV series, and they were looking at each other and they were like, "Oh, I'm Barry. Hey, I'm Barry." Like whatever type of deal. So Ezra Miller actually made a cameo in the first time they ever crossed over the TVs and the movies verses. Now I don't know if they just did it for the fun of it or were they literally that actually kind of weirdly sets up Grant Gustin to take his place because we've already seen
Potentially.
them in the same space, right? So they established to the fans that obviously Barry Allen he's the Flash of this Earth, whatever Earth, Earth One. They did it like as Marvel and them, they numbered their stuff, whereas what you call it just is, I mean, they're numbered too, Earth One, Earth Two, whatever. But they numbered their universes, the 626 universe and the this that's Marvel. Uh, Trying to be a little bit different, but DC just goes by Earths. So it's Earth One, Earth Two, Earth 500, whatever. So, and Barry Allen can obviously go through the multiverses. He can travel through the different Earths. So they kind of set it up. They actually kind of set it up. If they were to try to do that, it wouldn't be far fetched because they kind of set it up. But what I wanted to mention to you was about the Flashpoint movie. You could literally take this movie whether you reshot it or whatever, even if you did decide to reshoot it, you can use this movie to reshape your DC universe to the way you want it to be. If you want it to be multiverse, and this is your this is your end game, so to speak. Not saying that this is comparing it to end game, but what I mean is here's your opportunity to bring all of the different characters in, because it's a multiverse, right? So to bring all the different characters together, the different worlds together in the movie, I'm just saying, you could kind of shape the universes the way you want to. So that way, you still can have. Now, what I would do with Michael Keaton's Batman is I would make him Batman in Batman Beyond. I would make him the old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond. That's what I would do with his Batman at this point, especially if you're talking a couple more years before they shoot it. I would, this is where you have your opportunity to cast a young man to play the young, to play Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis or whatever, McGinnis, whatever his name is, to play that Batman, and you got old Bruce that was, teaching him and stuff like that. So I would use that opportunity.
That sounds really nice, but I think you have to distance yourself from the stain of anything with Ezra Miller.
No, of course. This is all without of Ezra Miller. Yeah.
No, so using anything from this Flashpoint movie, as long as it's attached to Ezra Miller, to me is poison. I'm saying
in the matter of reshooting it or reshoot it, you can't get rid of this story. This story is too big of it's bigger than Ezra Miller. The Flashpoint story is bigger. No,
I agree. But I think it's something you do further down the line. You do it further down the line, right? And like I said, by the time you get ready to do this one, the rest of your universe starts coming into focus, right? You do find someone else that will replace the Flash. I don't know if you use the guy from the TV show. I don't know if you want to. You may find somebody else. And like I said, if Michael Keaton now is too old, or God forbid he's passed away, sure, you could put Ben Affleck into that role as an older one, right? But I think that you got to start, you got to start looking at a bigger picture. And I just don't feel that you just chuck away this number. It's the same way. Like I feel like even as they continue with the DC movies, you don't just chuck away the Nolan universe. You just don't ignore it like you did in. I know it was supposed to be a one-off, but I don't think that. And I guess I can say thing with Nolan and Donner is because they are before trying to intertwine everything. They were done before that, because then you say, well, what about Christopher Reeves? You just ignore that universe. And I guess to a degree, you do have to ignore the Donner, and you do have to ignore Nolan. Same way you might have to ignore all the other Batman movies, because now you're trying to intertwine them, right, with the current right. And I'm saying that you can't ever. Let's just say somewhere down the line, Christian Bale says, "No, I want to come back and do another Batman for someone other than Nolan," and you figure out a way. There you go. You may want to bring him into Flashpoint.
And Flashpoint, right. Flashpoint can serve as that movie. Not that it has to be. You have to set up a whole bunch of new franchises, but it can be that fan service movie that Endgame was.
Spider-Man was.
Right, like Spider-Man was. Yeah, Spider-Man was. And Endgame to a degree. Endgame was more than fan service. It was a tie-up of a long story. But Spider-Man was more of a fan service type of deal. So it could be that same movie that Spider-Man was as far as fan service, because now you can sneak in what's his name? Nolan's Batman, Christopher.
You can sneak Bale in there. You can sneak.
Yeah, Christian Bale.
Yeah,
you can sneak Bale in there. You can sneak in jeez, I can't think of his name right now. Anne Hathaway. You want to sneak in and have multiple Catwoman.
You probably could sneak. I think I think for right now, the foreseeable future, that although Catwoman is a part of the DC universe, she's not. If you have between Kravitz and Hathaway right now, I think right now you keep it Kravitz.
No, of
Because
course. No, I think you're missing where I'm trying to go with it. I'm just talking about for this one event movie
no, because
where you
no,
because Flash
it's
Flash
overreaching.
travel it's not
overreaching.
overreaching because she's part of Bale's world. So what I'm saying is when you talk about what Flashpoint is, now the Flashpoint storyline is not just going into a bunch of different universes. It's a whole thing where everything got twisted, right? So, like I said, when Flash, and I don't know if they're exactly doing the exact Flashpoint story. That's the thing. I think they were going to try to do a weave of Flashpoint and a little bit of like, Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever, like, which is like a multiverse story for them. So if you're doing a multiverse story where the Flash is literally traveling through universes into different universes, then you have that opportunity to do that. You grab the one or two of the most popular characters from each universe, and you show, Flash encounters them at some point. That's all you do, and that's how you do.
But see, I disagree with that because that would. But see, I disagree with that because that was the case. You could do the exact same thing in Spider-Man where you had multiple Mary Janes in it, and you didn't do that one because the focus is on Spider-Man. Right. That's what I'm saying. So if it's a Flashpoint, he's meeting different versions of Batman because in other universes, Catwoman just very well may be the criminal. So you're not going in to deal with a problem unless you're saying part of the problem is that we have to deal with multiple versions of Catwoman.
No, I'm not. No, yeah, I think you missed me again on that. I'm just saying these are possible. I'm not saying make Catwoman a forefront character or anything like that. I'm just saying that when it comes to fan service,
I do understand what you're saying, but that's
and they could have did the Mary Jane thing. Actually, I think they should have. I think they should have did that. They should have brought Kirsten Dunst at least, but somewhere in there. But see, it just obviously it didn't fit into that story. You would have had to craft a story that works with it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
He would have literally had, because remember we bought those Spider. This is the difference. They brought those Spider-Men into our universe. Flash would be traveling to their universes. That's the difference. There's the difference. It's not like you would be bringing Flash wouldn't be bringing people into his universe or our universe. He can literally travel the multiverse, just like how America Chavez can, right? He can travel the multiverse.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, unless you happen to go into another universe, and Batman is that another Batman in Universe 27. He's currently dealing with a situation with Catwoman. Having Catwoman it makes no sense. That's too much fan service because that's the case.
There's no such thing as too much fan service. There's no such thing as that. No,
no. See,
that's why it's called fan service. There's no such thing as that.
No.
Wait. Fan? What true fan in their right mind?
Wait a minute, Wes.
Let me ask you this: what true fan in their right mind is going to sit in a movie and be amused and say, you know what, that was just too much fan service? Who the hell says that? You're talking about Christian Bale, right? If you saw Christian Bale pop up,
but wait,
Wes,
hold it. I'm not talking about different fan. I'm talking about the company's perspective, because at the end of the day, you still got to pay all these people. They're not showing up in this movie for free. They're not. Man. You know what I'm saying? So you saying
half of these people ain't really doing much no more. How much you really got to pay them to be up in it? To be honest with you, it all depends. It all depends on who you're talking about.
Hold. But wait. If you're sitting there talking about Anne Hathaway has an Oscar. She's a multiple Oscar nominee. You bring in Kirsten Dunst. Kirsten Dunst is an Oscar nominee.
How many years ago did she have her Oscars?
It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
It does matter. My thing is, if she's gonna come in and do the film and do her cameo, obviously it's something that she agreed to. Of course, yes, you have to pay everybody, so you pay them. That's it. If you're gonna do it, do it. You look at all of the people they brought back for Endgame. Look at all of the people they brought back for Endgame. Guess what? They paid them. You have to. So you just do it.
Sure, it did, but there's still a whole bunch of people that was within the Endgame in the Marvel universe. They didn't bring back every single body. They didn't bring back everybody.
They almost did.
No, they
basically did. For that Tony Stark scene, the funeral, they pretty much brought back everybody. Every single person.
No, they did not. There's still a bunch of people that they did not bring back. You know, when
anybody of importance from every movie, they brought back the kid from Iron Man 3.
Yeah,
they
certainly did. But
talk about insignificant. He was at Stark's funeral.
But they only brought back 4 people from Ant-Man, right? Wasn't Ant-Man's friends, the 3 of them, aren't they also just as important in that, sir? But they didn't bring them back.
They're not just as important as Ant-Man in the Wasp. And Hank Pym. They brought back the main guys.
That's what I'm saying.
So you mean Catwoman? So Catwoman in the Batman movie, and her. Each one of the Batman franchises that featured Catwoman, she was not the secondary main character of the movie?
Of course she is. In the movie where Batman has to deal with her, of course she is. But if he's not dealing with her, then there's no reason for her to be in the movie. So if Flash is going through different universes, unless Batman is actually dealing with a problem with Catwoman, then there's no reason to have Catwoman. So if you have Zoe Kravitz,
so for instance, Zoe Kravitz, perfect example.
So if you have Zoe Kravitz, right? So if Batman is dealing in this universe with Zoe Kravitz, right? And you sitting saying, well, in another universe he's dealing with a problem with Catwoman, and you bring back Anne Hathaway or you bring back Michelle Pfeiffer, that's a different story. But once again, you're inflating the budget because all these people got to get paid. I'm not saying they'll have fan service because it's for the fans,
right? At this point, I mean, you got to do it. You got to pay them. But I'm saying if Endgame was possible, then anything is possible. They brought literally everybody back for Endgame. And everybody meaning like every hero
franchises that were going, but they were all active franchises that were running. We haven't seen Anne Hathaway as Catwoman since 2013. She hasn't been in anything else DC related with another Batman property. Has there been another Batman movie since then? Yes. Was she in some kind of way? No.
She's not. It's another universe. But we're talking about crossing universes, right?
But that I'm sorry. That's too much. It's too much.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
If that's the case,
when it comes to fan service,
if you go in that, if you take that. If you take that thought, then every single person that ever been in a Batman movie in some way, shape, or form, with that thought, bring them in because it's fan service. So yeah, bring back Nicole Kidman. Bring back Jim Carrey. Go ahead, bring back Tommy Lee Jones is dead. Bring. That's what I'm saying. It becomes too much.
No, it becomes too much. How does it become too much? I mean, it is what it is. It doesn't become too much. There's no such thing.
And personally, and that's like sitting and saying, well, if you got Henry Cavill coming back as Superman, right? Got him come back as Superman, okay? And Flashpoint, he's going through. So, do you bring back Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane?
Bosworth, what was she in Superman Returns?
She's in Superman Returns. Do you bring back Terry Hatcher from Lois Lane?
Nah, I mean, it all depends. Well, but you're missing my point here. I'm talking about bringing back, not that Lois Lane obviously is a main character in a Superman movie, but if you can weave it into the storyline where it makes sense, then fine. But the bottom line is, if you're talking like like I said, the Flash would be traveling to multiple universes. His movie would be more in the lines of the Multiverse of Madness than, say, Spider-Man, because Spider-Man, you brought those guys in from their universes, and along with the villains that was from their universes into that one universe. The Flash would be more like the Multiverse of Madness, where he would be traveling to different universes, right? So
I understand
where,
that, but even with the Multiverse of Madness, as he's going through different universes, right? You don't see like like I'm just gonna say the Hulk. Like we know that Ruffalo plays the Hulk. You did not see they brought in Eric Bana as the Hulk. You didn't see.
Well, I mean, we never, but the
back
Hulk wasn't in the storyline.
Edward Norton as the Hulk.
But they could have. That's the point. They could have done it because it wasn't in the it wasn't in the story that they wrote. But they could have very well wrote that into the story.
But that's entirely my point. At what point do you write a movie, or you write a movie to tell a story, or you just write a movie to give fan service to people?
No,
at what point do you draw the line?
Oh, you have to draw the line at some point.
But is there ever such thing as
no? Of course, you draw the line at some point. No, there's no such thing as overkill when it comes to fan service. There is no.
That's
such
what
thing
I'm sitting there saying. So unless
there's no such thing, you have to cross the. You have to stop the line at somewhere, right? You got to stop it somewhere. I agree with that. We both agree on that. But what I'm saying is, so yes, if you're going to tell me, you mentioned Jim Carrey. Hell yeah, I would bring Jim Carrey in a multiverse because he was by far the best Riddler that we've ever seen. Don't say there won't be a reason. You can write that in. You can write that as part of the story.
Actually, right now, no, he's right now, no, he's not. Paul Dano is the best Riddler you've seen.
No, he is not. No, he is not.
Yes, he is.
Paul Dano is not the best Riddler because Paul Dano wasn't even really the Riddler to me. But that's fine, But like I said,
he was kind of sort of just getting started. Whereas Jim Carrey, I mean, yes, but Jim Carrey was very on top. But what I'm saying, but he was over top. Now the way we could think written, of anybody from the way he was
the way he was written was campy because the movie was campy, right? So that's but the fact of the matter is his performance as the Riddler.
I give his performance was the best thing in. Yes, it was. It was the best anyway. But what I'm saying is that we could sit there and make that argument for anybody in any of the other DC related films that they're going to
for any movie. It's just like saying, I thought Pattinson was good. I don't know if he was great. Only because you can't be Batman without Bruce Wayne. And to me, he was a terrible Bruce Wayne. He was a good Batman, but he was a bad Bruce Wayne. And you can't have one without the other. You got to be able to. You got to be able to balance them both. Bale was able to balance them both.
I'm not gonna say he was the best. I'm not gonna sit there and say that he was the best Bruce Wayne, but he was decent because I think people say
he was actually the worst. He could have been the worst Bruce Wayne. And I'm saying not including what's his name? With the fat nipples and all that, not including him. I'm just saying, he might, if you take the best Batmans that we have, and we all know when you measure the Batmans, it's, whatever way you want to put it, it's Bale, it's Keaton, it's Affleck, right? And then now it's Pattinson, right? Pattinson.
Yeah.
Now you're measuring these guys, right? Kilmer, you want to throw him in here?
George Clooney is always going to be last.
Right, George Clooney is always going to be last. I don't even count him, but what I'm saying is, out of all of them,
yeah, he is.
Actually, George Clooney's Bruce Wayne wasn't bad. He wasn't bad as Bruce Wayne. Clooney was not a bad Bruce Wayne.
The Batman, he
was just a terrible Batman.
But what I'm saying
I think it's the reverse. I think, in my opinion, it's fair to say that Pattinson could be the worst Bruce Wayne out of all of them.
But see, I think what all the other Batmans, and I didn't really get this to say in this version, is that, and actually, Christian Bale touched on this a little bit as his Batman. Bruce Wayne is a tormented person, right? He saw his parents killed in front of him. And now he's going through this thing where he is trying to save the city he loves while keeping it a secret and keeping his friends love. But he has to deal with and he harbors the fact that, as I think it's pointed out in two different versions of Batman, that he feels somewhat responsible for his parents' death. Somewhat responsible. So now that you're 20-something years old, you're not going to be some happy-go-lucky, say, hey, I got $1 billion. I think I want to go go take the whole ballet out, and you're kind of tormented. You're kind of tormented. And that's what he was. He was
that's never
somewhat
changed.
tormented.
Right. That's never changed about Bruce Wayne and Batman. I mean, in any storyline, the way, if you really understand the story and the character, yes, he is tormented. We all know that. However, and he's not Tony Stark. He's not the billionaire playboy, but he does have his moments where, whatever, where he spends his money. But like just like he said in Justice League, his superpower is he's rich. That's his superpower, right? So he has his opportunity. He has his moments. But the way Patterson played him, I'm sorry, the whole brooding thing and all that stuff, that's never been Bruce Wayne. That's never been Bruce Wayne. He doesn't have to be like Tony Stark, throwing money everywhere and being happy-go-lucky. I've never ever said that, because that's never been Bruce Wayne. But Bruce Wayne still has to maintain. He has to maintain a certain level of whatever, because number one, that's the whole point of having a secret identity, right? The whole point is that you could sit around this guy for 10 minutes and figure out that he could be Batman. Look at the way this guy walks around looking all the time. He's all brooding. He's all all pissed off all the time.
But that's very fair,
right?
That is a very fair statement. However, that still got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. All I'm sitting there saying is this: if you want to incorporate, and you could legitimately make an argument, if you did a Flashpoint movie, of a reason to bring anybody back from any other different versions of Batman, Superman. So,
but what makes sense and who's important?
But at some point, when does it become a movie? Right. And at some
it's
point,
about what makes sense.
Are you doing a movie or you just doing the movie to surface
for fan service, right? Because you can make the argument that I would have rather seen. A lot of people would probably argue would have rather seen Venom than any of those other villains that they brought back for Spider-Man, right? Like you might have been, but would have rather seen a Venom character, but because this Venom that they knew established never encountered Spider-Man, it wouldn't have made sense to bring him in, really. So that's the only problem. So, it wouldn't have made sense to the story, because the story was every one of them that fought Spider-Man most of them ended up dying, because they fought Spider-Man in their world, right? And they ended up dying. So it would have made sense to the story to bring Tom Hardy's Venom, because he's never encountered Spider-Man. So, or any of those Spider-Man.
But now since you said that, then it would have made sense to bring the guy that actually played Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Right. It would have made sense to bring him
back. But
it would have been,
once
yes.
Again, at some point,
But that doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is, at some point, you have to say, okay, that was enough, and now you have to decide who's more important, who's what. That's a decision that I guarantee you, a lot of fans probably would have rather seen Venom than, say, the Lizard. Because you bought two villains from Andrew Garfield's world. You bought the Lizard and you bought Jamie Foxx. Those were both from Andrew Garfield's world. And then you bought two. You did the same thing with Toby. No, he bought three from Toby.
Actually, they bought three.
Three from Toby.
Yeah. So Holland didn't even have a villain, because he hasn't faced anybody really.
His villain's locked up already. That's the Vulture. The Vulture. That was
Vulture's locked up. What's his name is dead. The other guy is dead.
Mysterio.
So he's coming with Mysterio is dead. But that's what I'm point. At some point, you do got to draw a line, because, like I said, you can make the argument for almost anybody in any of those Spider movies. Would it have been something to sit there and see them doing the thing with all three Spider-Mans, and pop, you got three different what's the name? His aunt there.
Yeah.
Aunt May, you got three Aunt Mays there, telling him, and you saying, with great power comes great responsibility. The fans would have ate it up and loved it, but it ain't a central part of the movie. There's no need to have.
It all depends on how you write it. Right. Exactly. I agree with you. It depends. Like I said, people would have loved to see it, and of course, you have to stop at some point. I get that. I think we're arguing about something that doesn't even need to be argued about, because my only point was, it's something, any of that stuff can be done. Like you just said, you can make an argument for any of it, because any of that stuff can be done if it's written the right way. But am I gonna say that the movie's gonna suck without it? Of course not. I'm not gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna say, oh, this movie's gonna suck unless you have I didn't even like Anne Hathaway as a Batgirl. I mean, as Catwoman. I just made that as an example. But I didn't even like her as Catwoman.
But there's a lot of people that did like her as Catwoman. I thought she was different.
But on top of that,
when it comes to
her
certain
Catwoman
things,
is significant to his Batman because they ended together.
They ended up together.
They ended that storyline together. So you kind of would have to pick that up.
Now I'm really mess your head up. If that's the case, do you bring back Ashley Johnson, who played their daughter in Birds of Prey? Because that is a very clear when that show came on that it was Batman and Catwoman's daughter. So now you saw one Batman movie where Batman and Catwoman are linked up together. They're not like in the Batman where they went their separate ways. No, you saw two of them out there in Italy somewhere. So do you bring her in there?
No, but what I'm saying is that we established that that's the whatever. We don't. She's not necessarily their daughter from that universe. Their daughter. She is a Batman and Catwoman's daughter.
She's somebody's daughter.
She's somebody's daughter. But that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is this: if the last time you saw
that would be Keaton's daughter.
The last time you saw,
I would think that would be Keaton's daughter.
Possibly. The last time you saw Bale in the Batman movie, the way they ended their arc, those two were together. Doesn't mean that you have to bring her in. But what I'm saying is you can't say that it wouldn't make sense because the last time we saw them, they were together. So if the Flash was to run into that point in time, right, and he runs into that world, into that point in time, and encounters Bale, there's a good possibility that Selena Kyle is with him. Right? It's a good possibility. Because remember, he can enter any point. I'm gonna take that. He can enter any point.
I disagree with that one. I disagree with that
any
one.
Point in time.
But I disagree with that one. No, it isn't. There is a good chance if he ran into Bruce Wayne, he'd be with
Bruce
Wayne.
Wayne. Yeah.
But if he was
Bruce
with
Wayne,
Batman,
right.
But if he was
Bruce
Batman,
because you gotta remember, Flash knows who Batman is. So he is very, very possible he would seek out Bruce. As a matter of fact, in the Flashpoint story, the original Flashpoint story, he seeks out Bruce Wayne because he wants Bruce to kind of help him get his powers back. Recreate how he got his powers. Because when he first goes into Flashpoint, he loses his powers because everything changes, right? Because he went back and saved his mother, which was something he basically changed time for something that shouldn't have happened. He saved his mother from getting killed, and it altered the timeline. It altered the reality. So, and since he went looking for Bruce was dead. It was Bruce that got killed in the alley, and not Thomas. And Thomas Wayne was Batman in that timeline.
That's why
Thomas Wayne became Batman
again,
right?
But
no, you can't. You got it. I'm stopping you there, Ralph. That's not too much. That is the story. That's not too much. That's the actual story. And how can it be too much when that is the story? Thomas Wayne in this alternate universe, Thomas Wayne is Batman. Bruce got killed in the alley, and it drove him to become Batman. And so that's the whole point of an alternate reality. Things were different. He was, Wonder Woman was still Wonder Woman, but the Atlanteans and the Atlanteans and the Themyscirians was at war. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a whole thing going on with them. Wonder Woman and Aquaman were actually in a relationship together. They were in a relationship together. You know what I mean? At one point, and then she killed Mara. She killed Queen Mara. So that's what started the war between. So the whole point is Flashpoint has a whole story.
Maybe they need to add that part to get rid of Amber Heard. Get rid of Amber Heard.
Get rid of Amber Heard. Have her get a head chop because she literally chopped off the head of Mara.
But what I'm also saying is, what I'm saying is like okay, you're telling me this about Flashpoint once again. I'm not familiar with Flashpoint because I've never seen the comic.
That's
book.
why I'm telling you.
I'm gonna take a
so that's
look
what I'm
at
saying
it.
that it can't be
Now
right.
could
Just
you,
watch
could
the
you,
movie,
could you,
the animated one.
But could you arguably do that and keep it as close as humanly possible to what was already written and not really change it? That's a debatable thing.
No,
Could
that's
you do it?
that's tough. That's a tough one. I mean, you can do it. Don't the answer to that is yes, you can do it. But
Sure
the
you can,
question,
but
but the whole thing is, should you do it? It's more like my question. Should you do it? I think what they're ultimately what they were doing with this Flashpoint. That's why they're not calling it Flashpoint, because I believe they're just taking elements from Flashpoint. I believe that they were bringing back this guy's Batman. When I first heard that Michael Keaton was coming back, I thought he was coming back to play Thomas Wayne. When I first thought it was Flashback, when I thought it was Flashpoint, I was like, maybe he's playing the other Batman that was in Flashpoint, who was older, tougher, not tougher, but he was more like he used guns and stuff. Like he was more violent. He was more violent than Batman, because he was just, but he had the whole scruffy, beard and stuff like that. That's what I thought. And then I thought, I wonder if they would they be so bold enough to touch on a Batman Beyond and have Keaton in for that. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, because we got to remember, the possibilities with the Flash character are endless. There are endless possibilities. He can go into the future. He can go into the past. He can go into different universes. It's endless. So
agree.
Right. So it could be Batman Beyond, and Michael Keaton is still Bruce Wayne. He's just the older Bruce Wayne, right? Because I thought, I'll be honest with you, when you talk about fan service, and I see Kev is out there, I'm gonna bring him on. When you talk about fan service, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I was, maybe I'm in the minority. I wasn't super excited about. I was excited about seeing Keaton back, but at the same time, I started thinking, well, what is he? Is he? So to me, he's still Batman. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just like at this point, that's where the Batman Beyond storyline comes in, because Batman realized that I can't do this forever. I'm human. I can't be Batman forever, right? And here's the deal. No pun intended, Batman forever. Here's the deal. And actually Amanda Waller was took a big part in the whole creation of that, because it comes out that the kid Terry is actually biologically Bruce Wayne's offspring, because Amanda Waller. Terry is Batman Beyond, the character who plays young Batman. Yeah. So, and he's trained by Bruce, old Bruce. And like I said, Bruce was looking for a successor because he's like, yo, I can't do this forever. He's old now. And he actually was retiring. He actually, the storyline of Batman Beyond, he's retired already. Yeah. He kind of stopped being. Yeah.
He was just in the house. He wasn't going out. He was.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought he was dead. Because no one ever saw him. I mean, I saw some of Batman Beyond.
Right. So,
like I said,
so that all comes from Amanda Waller. She took his.
But I get where you're coming from. But what I'm sitting there saying is that while comic fans will love it, at some point you gotta look at it from the studio's perspective. That's a really big budget. Will it if we spend, let's just say for sake of argument, we spend $300 million on this movie and we give fans every single thing they want for. Are we ever going to go into profit with the movie?
Yeah, if you write a good movie, of course you will. That same question. Nothing's guaranteed, Ralph. Nothing's guaranteed with movies. Nothing ever. So you nothing is ever guaranteed. But that question you just proposed to me. Every single person at Marvel proposed that question to each other sitting at the table before they conceived Infinity War and decided to do Infinity War, which is a big storyline from the comics.
How many movies down the line was Infinity War? It's like 20-something movies down the line, right?
Yeah, but that's
so
what does that mean?
If you had 20 movies that came out and the bulk of them grossed about $250 million. Okay, in US, and and half of them grossed $1 billion. Yeah, I could justify me spending $300 million on this movie because more than likely it's going to go on a profit. But if we're talking like it's movie number 2, and like right now, if you was do Flashpoint right now with the way the DC universe is right this second, can you legitimately justify spending?
No,
that's
I
what
wouldn't do. I that's a good point. I don't even know if I would do Flashpoint at this point in time. Like I said, if they want to concoct some sort of multiverse type of deal, take elements and make a nice story, they can do it. Yes, the whole Flashpoint fan service stuff that I'm talking about, no, you couldn't do that at this point. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't do it at this point. You'd have to do it down the line, and maybe with different people. You know what I'm saying? Maybe whether or not if Pattinson, let's say if Pattinson
we was having this conversation
isn't Batman
10 years
no more,
later,
then you bring him back. You see what I'm saying? Let's say Pattinson no longer is Batman, or Ben Affleck's no longer Batman, so you bring him back, right? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
No, of course.
10 years down the line, if we was having the same conversation, then my
mode
is a whole lot different. Is a whole lot different because now you're sitting saying, okay, I can see Warner Brothers, not Marvel, Warner Brothers. I can see Warner Brothers spending $300 million in this movie because they're going to get their money back. Right today, I wouldn't give Warner Brothers $30 because they don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what they're doing. Well, that's the whole point of us us bringing up, and I just brought Kevin to the stream. That was the whole point of us.
As a matter of fact, when I go to LA, I'm going to Warner Brothers. I'm going to take the studio tour. Somewhere in there, I'm going to get off that tour, but I'm going to march to someone off and say, "What the hell are you guys doing with your universe?" I'm dead serious. I very well make it.
You got to film that.
You
might get kicked off. You might get kicked out, but
you know
you
got to
do that. You got to do that.
It's going to be after I see the tour. It's going to be after I go on the tour.
So what I wanted to say was that's the whole point of the DC 10-year plan that they're talking about. They're talking about structuring it as if like Marvel did, right? So obviously we wouldn't see, I'm not talking about Flashpoint, but we wouldn't see even a possibility of a Justice League movie. We wouldn't see another Justice League movie in 10 years at least, right? That's how they, pretty much how they going, because they're not just focusing on, because as of right now, I read the slate to everybody. That slate does not include no one from the Trinity because none of that stuff has been, yes, the Batman 2 is in development. Okay. There's no one, they talk about the Wonder Woman, there have been talks of Wonder Woman, whatever. We know Aquaman is coming out, but you're talking about Shazam and Black Adam and stuff like that. I believe that what they were trying to do was see how the reaction that the fans get and the people get from Black Adam. And remember, the Black Adam has a lot of Justice Society characters in there. And don't be surprised if they start to spin off some of their movies if this does well. You got the Justice Society of America, which is they're basically the Justice League before the Justice League. They were before the Justice League. Yeah.
And not for nothing, I'm even sitting here saying this today in 2022. By 10 years down the line, 2032, everybody they got playing one of these DC characters, they're going to replace with somebody else because they're going to say they're too old now. It's going to be too late, and now you got to recast the Justice League with everybody. Got to get recasted.
Crazy.
The only one.
That's just crazy because they can do with the Justice League the same thing that they're going to do with the Avengers. Everybody is talking about, with the Avengers. Well, now as you see, they're going to but they're going to replenish the lineup for the Avengers, just like it's done in the comics. There's different teams, right? So different teams. So now they're going to replenish that lineup. It's very, it's very, very possible that, that lineup changes almost completely. What you call it is, Sam is going to still be in there. He'll probably be one of the leaders because he's an OG Avenger, right? So he's going to probably be one of the leaders because he's Captain America now. So he kind of has to be the leader, one of the leaders at least. Captain Marvel.
Somehow
It's probably gonna be him and Captain Marvel. It's probably gonna be
somehow
the
you got to
leaders.
figure out how to bring Spider-Man back into a sense. He was erased from everybody's memory. Now you got to reintroduce him, not to the audience, but you got to reintroduce him to whoever Shield or the Avengers. You got to reintroduce him some kind of way. So do you have Doctor Strange cast some sort of remembrance spell, or Scarlet Witch cast remembrance spell and remember everybody who Spider-Man was and what happened?
I mean, yeah, you can, but you don't necessarily have to because he's still Spider-Man. He's still a hero. He's still saving people. He's still your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. It would almost be like recruiting him, so to speak. Yeah, that's what it would have to be. But yeah, I mean, obviously it'd have to be something like that. Something's gonna slip through the cracks as far as with that go when they come back with that storyline. Somebody's gonna remember. It's gonna slip through the cracks.
The only one that probably remember him is the only two I could see really remember him is obviously Doctor Strange and probably Scarlet Witch. They're the only two. I mean, unless he kisses his version of Mary Jane and it's like amnesia. It all comes flooding back to her, like who he is.
Yeah,
maybe. But
that is possible. Yeah, but they kind of the funny thing is because the Multiverse of Madness, I thought it was supposed to come out before. Was it? Yeah, I think they had to do reshoots on that. I thought it was supposed to come out before Spider-Man originally. But the bottom line is they did that. I believe that part where they sat down with America Chavez and stuff was a reshoot where they mentioned Spider-Man. The funny thing is they mentioned Spider-Man, but he was supposed to not remember Spider-Man. He just said, well, maybe he knows Spider-Man. He just don't know he's Peter Parker.
Right. I think, but
he was like, I kind of
got the thought
he shoot webs. Did he shoot him out his butt or something like that? They said, like.
See, I kind of get the thought that Doctor Strange knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man only because he's the one that cast the spell. If he didn't cast, if somebody else
said, but at the end of the movie, he said, he
said everybody's going.
He's not going to remember either. In the movie, he's not supposed to remember either who you are. Not that they don't know who Spider-Man is; they just don't know his identity. You know what I'm saying? Like so. The fact of the matter is, people don't know.
I kind of
think if his spell erased people's memory as to them knowing who Spider-Man really is, for the most part, and unfortunately, the way it worked with Mary Jane and them, they had to because they knew that Peter Parker and Spider-Man is one and the same. You have to forget Peter Parker too. You know what I'm saying? That's who you're really forgetting.
I agree, but
you're not really forgetting Spider-Man. You're forgetting Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Right, but what I think the only person that really knows now after that Peter Parker is Spider-Man is Doctor Strange, only because he cast the spell. If he didn't cast it, I would say he wouldn't know neither.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, according to the way they did the movie, the way it was in the movie, it was explained he was supposed to forget as well. He's supposed to forget as well. Now, maybe he didn't forget. Maybe he just said that and didn't cast it, on himself. But the way it was supposed to turn out, he's supposed to forget as well. Only forget who he is, his identity. Spider-Man still exists in the world.
See the way Yeah, but see, the way I was looking at it was like, if you're sitting there and he was casting a spell and now he forgot why he's there. When at some point when he said, wait a minute, what am I doing here? Why am I got my hands and I'm doing this spell? What am I doing it for? Oh yeah, because I gotta erase the world's memory of Peter Parker.
No, that's not necessarily true. What he's saying, it's not like he forgot. It's not like he blacks out and he wonders what's going on. No, he didn't black out or anything. He just doesn't remember who Spider-Man's identity is. He still knows he still knows Spider-Man exists. He still knows it, but he just doesn't know who Spider-Man is. That's all that
I'm saying.
That's all that the spell was supposed to affect.
But that's just my theory.
I know it's your theory. No, it's your theory, and it's not a far-fetched theory because he was the spell caster that he made. But what I'm saying is his intention was to forget as well. Everyone to forget Spider-Man's true identity. That was the goal of the spell. So with that being said, that's why they were still able, if I remember correctly, they had a conversation about Spider-Man, but Spider-Man still exists, so he can have a conversation. Because I heard a lot of people talking about that. They say, well, why are they talking about Spider-Man when he supposedly forgot Spider-Man? No, he didn't forget Spider-Man. He just forgot who his identity is. So if they say, oh yeah, there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man, like in that conversation they had in the thing. Oh, there's an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man, right? And then it's Spider-Man. Oh, does he shoot webs? Yeah, he does. But I'm not sure. Like it was just a quick little funny little conversation, but he never said like, yeah, he's some kid from just graduated high school. Like he don't know that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean by it still holds up. And the way it was intended in the movie and the way it was intended in the storyline, he was supposed to forget too. Everyone who knew Peter Parker was Spider-Man was supposed to forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. And unfortunately, the friends that knew him, they kind of forgot him altogether. You know what I'm saying? It was almost like they never met him. It was just, unfortunately, the people that knew him first as Peter and then discovered him to be Spider-Man, they forgot about him, which to be honest with you, everyone kind of forgot about him altogether. Because if he walked in front of Doctor Strange wouldn't know who he is as Peter Parker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that he wouldn't know. Doesn't mean that he wouldn't know who he is.
I think he does.
Well, I mean, that's just purely you saying you think he does, but that's not how the story says it. I mean, it's an easy way.
No, I
it's an easy way to bring it back. But yeah.
I'm saying,
I mean,
I understand.
In Strange Lies,
that's not the story.
Strange Lies, he does stuff all the time, and then says, "Hey, and that's why he casted it so that's such a big spell because it's supposed to have reached through different universes and stuff like that. So, like I said, I mean, that's fine. You can have that theory and say, yeah, I think he does know. But I mean, what advantage would it be for him to know that Spider-Man's Peter Parker? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because you can still know who Spider-Man is.
To confide in someone that you can confide in.
I mean, if
an emergency, if some sort of global emergency comes up, you can go to him very quickly because even in Spider-Man and the first Spider-Man, Peter Parker was still kind of like just a local person. I mean, he was on Tony Stark's radar, but he wasn't on everybody else's radar. So him going back to just nobody knowing, he just go back to being a local person, which is.
But that's kind of like what he wanted to be. Yeah, he wanted to be this.
That's right. But Doctor Strange may say but Doctor Strange say no as a just in case of. If anybody got to remember who he is, it would because he still had.
But once again, here's my point though. Here's my point. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know who Spider-Man is.
I'm not meaning, of course he knows.
He may still have the memories that he could still have memories that he knows who Spider-Man is. We can recruit Spider-Man into the Avengers because he's Spider-Man. He saves people, whatever. But that doesn't necessarily mean he has to know who he is behind the mask. That's what I'm saying.
But what advantage does that give him? I agree with that, but I kind of sort of think that he actually does know that Parker is Spider-Man, just as a what if, and maybe he simply told him that because he's saying, well, I have to, in order for me to save the universe, I have to tell him something for him to agree with that. This is the only way.
I can agree with that. That's something that Strange would do. I definitely agree that that's possible. And that would be an easy way of them to say, okay, we can put them back in a movie together because it's like, because then they can even make a little joke out of it. He'd be like, wait a minute, like you're not supposed to know who I am, you know what I mean? And he would say something like, kid, you really think I was gonna do that, or something like that, or whatever. It's very possible
what is Doctor Strange's nickname? What's his nickname? What's Doctor Strange's nickname? Doesn't he have a nickname?
He's the master of mystic arts. Yeah. the master of mystic arts. He's the
So if you were master,
so
then
he's not the
you
sorcerer
kind of
supreme
feel as if
anymore because Wong's
right.
the sorcerer
Wong's the
supreme
sorcerer
now.
supreme. But if you're the master of the mystic arts, I'm quite sure you know a loophole or two up in there somewhere. Same thing if you're a Jedi master, you know a loophole or two up in there somewhere.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
to
I
get
mean, it's
around
very. I
certain
mean,
things. You
and
know,
to be honest with
that's
you,
all I'm
it's
sitting there saying.
okay. And to be honest with you, it's okay. Yeah, I know that the spell is supposed to erase everybody, but I mean, it's okay. I would be okay with that if he knew. I'm just telling you based on what the story he's not supposed to know, and that's why in the multiverse of madness, he never made an indication of who he was. It's just that he knew that Spider-Man is still around. He swings around New York or whatever and help people. So as you said, there's a Spider-Man and an Ant-Man. But yeah, I mean the bottom line is I wouldn't be mad at it because that's just whatever, strange. So uh there's plenty of times he wasn't supposed to cast that spell in the first place. That ended up bringing everybody
Exactly.
into that because Peter screwed it up, but he wasn't even supposed to do that. And Wong told him not to do it, and he did it anyway.
Yeah.
It did the spell anyway, which obviously we all know started the nonsense, But yeah, I don't know,
Started
man.
everything.
So with that being said, before we end the show and all that stuff, um, well, I did want to talk about quick. I wanted to talk quickly about so
Man, you
raising
gotta bring
Kanan.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kev's in. He's in. Raising
Wait a minute, you gotta bring
Kanan.
Kevin. No, his mic is muted.
He can unmute it I think he wants it muted right now. So Raising Kanan is coming back on the 14th. Good job. Good. I'm finally to me, Raising Kanan is the best to me, in my opinion. It's the best show out of all of the powers since the first power. To me, my opinion. Obviously, I like Tommy's show. The new one, Force. But Raising Kanan to me, it obviously resonates more because it's from our time, the 80s and 90s. It has the best acting, in my opinion, in a lot of people's opinion. I think it has the best acting on there. The actors, performance wise, are the best, and I think that it's probably the most realistic out of all of them so far, as far as what they're doing in the show and things that are happening and people that are living, people that are dying, and now in this season it gets a little crazier because you have Kanan. Put it like this: in order to line up the storylines with the original power, we know by the time the original power started or manifested, Kanan. None of these people that's in Raising Kanan is around except Jukebox, except the character of Jukebox. That's his cousin, and we all know that he ends up killing her in power. As the adult Kanan. So, but other than that, all of these other characters are never really mentioned in power. So you gotta assume that they're either in jail or dead, including his mother. Um, his mother was mentioned in one episode in Power. He said, but it was just a mention of like something like go stop by to check on mom or something like that, or check my mom's. But let's not get it twisted. I use that verbiage all the time when I go to see my parents in the cemetery. I say that all the time. I say, yeah, let me go check on the parents, or I'm gonna go see my parents, go visit my parents. You still speak in that way, but I never really say, and a lot of people don't always say, I'm gonna go visit my parents' grave, like because if I say it to you, I'm saying it to you because you already know my parents are dead. Like I would say it like that to someone who already knew. Now, if you're someone that I just met and you don't know that my parents are dead, then of course I would say, yeah, I'm gonna stop and visit my parents' grave site. You know what I mean? So him saying, "Yo, went to check my mom's," could have mean he went to see her grave because she is, she's definitely getting killed. She's, eventually. I don't know if it's gonna be this season, but it depends on how long they want to push this. Because the one thing about prequel seasons, there's only so much you could push them, before you have to end them, because we all know how this ends. It's the same theory of Breaking Bad. You know that eventually his character is going to die because he has terminal cancer, right? Even though they had it, they spread it. It was in remission for a second, then it came back. So with this though, this season looks like it's going to be action packed. It's going to have a lot of, a couple new characters in there. I mentioned at the top of the show, China Lane, friend of the show. She is going to be in a few episodes of Power, so I'm trying to get her on as a guest, and hopefully that's what it is. But I just wanted to talk about it, briefly. And I have like let me see if my slideshow still going. Can I let it? Is it moving? Yeah, as we're talking about. So these are just images from the original trailer that came out. That's Jukebox there. Here's young Kanan, and at some point we're not sure. I guess we just kind of guess that at some point they're gonna bring Ghost into this story somewhere, the young version of Ghost. You know what I mean? Because he meets Tommy and Ghost. Well, I think they met him while they were in high school or something like that. They were young when they met. So at some point they're gonna have to bring Ghost into this. They did have like a clip that was out there years ago that they put at the end when Power ended. They had this clip. That's Latoya Luckett right there, who plays a character in the show now. She plays Jukebox Mother. And here's a shot of the main character. She never has her hair like that. So I'm thinking she's on the run or something like that. She's got a knife to one of the Italians' necks. So she looks like she's on the run or something like that because she never wears her hair like that, pushed back into that ponytail looking thing. She almost looks like a different person. She always wear her hair kind of big, especially from, back then. That was the thing, big hairstyles, right? So, but yeah, I think that I can't wait for this season. I think it's gonna flow well. But these actors on here are excellent. This kid right here who plays young Kanan, he really, it seems like he hung around 50 a lot because he's taking on some 50 mannerisms and stuff. Even the way he talks, he kind of talks how 50 talks. You know what I mean? Because 50 has that little when he talks, because he got shot, right? And then he kind of has that, and then 50 can't help but talk like that. So obviously Kanan talks like that, the original character Kanan. So he's kind of adapted that slur type of thing that Kanan does when he talks. Very good actor for a young man. Very good actor. And the woman who's the lead, I tell you, I love her, man.
Isn't that
Who
Patina
plays
Miller?
the lead? Yeah, Patina Miller. Yeah, I love her, man. And if I would have been fighting for her to get on the list of hot TV women if we'd have had 2020s in there. Because I love her, man. And she's really killing this role, and she's still hot. She's very hot, very sexy. Even as this character, But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great season. We'll see. We'll start going back to like we do when the powers get started. We kind of go in and cover them week by week and do a little recap of them. So we'll do our little power hour, and I call it power hour, but we don't necessarily spend a whole hour on it. But for lack of a better name, we call it the power hour. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. Now, before we go, I just wanted to say about the tournament, right? So we're starting the seeding, right? We're starting the seeding, and what I was saying was now with the judging, so to speak, are we just going to be? I don't want to. I'm not going to try to insult us by saying simple-minded, but are we just going to be on just some simple? Oh, I think she looks better. Oh, I think she looks better. Or are we going to actually create a criteria as to why this person should win this battle?
Well, I
You
think
know what I'm saying?
physicality. I think physicality is in
Obviously.
consideration.
Well, obviously that has
Your
to. I mean,
importance.
that's
Yeah,
first of it.
right. Your importance to the overall show. I would take that in consideration.
And I
Right.
say impact has to be in there. The
I would.
impact that the character made, whether it was on pop culture or whatever the impact. I mean, let's be honest. Daisy Dukes made a huge impact on culture. Period. There's a whole goddamn
Agreed.
pants named after her, Daisy Dukes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
that's an impact.
Yeah. So
Right?
yes, I think that certainly that.
You know, Claire Huxtable made an impact.
And then I think
A lot of people,
you may take.
you know, she made a big impact on folks. Claire Huxtable, even though her character, we talk about hot, just that's on her list. Her character though made an impact. She remolded what black women should look like on television. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As far as you know what I'm saying, she remolded that. She set the bar. She reset the bar of what because black women looked one way, a black wife looked or black wife / mother looked one way before Claire Huxtable. And then after Claire Huxtable, they started looking a different way. You know what I'm
They look
saying?
a whole lot bad. Those rollers left, and out came.
Right.
Out came
Yeah. The rolls are right.
The
You know what
lace
I'm saying?
fronts.
Right. They looked right. They looked one way before her, and they looked a whole other way after her. Because you gotta remember when they started the Cosby Show, she was still, you know, not young, but she was still fairly young when they started the Cosby Show.
Still smoking.
She was
She was still smoking.
She was. I mean, she was smoking to me from beginning to end. She was always, even when they got older. But I'm just saying, with her, she redefined what
she was
a black female / mother / wife character should look like on television.
So yeah, I think you take those things in consideration. I think maybe what you also take in consideration, because some of the girls on the list walked off of their show. They left the show for whether they might show when you might got killed off, or like in case Suzanne Summers, you know, money. Yeah. But how did the show do after you left?
I agree. Or that's still part of impact, because she made a big impact on that show. And at that point, from that point on, even though the show still went on and it still was funny, but it was still funny because of John Ritter. That's why it was still funny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But from that point on, they were just like, you know, chasing Amy. They were chasing Chrissy. From that point on, they were just chasing Chrissy. Right. Who can we put that's replacing the Chrissy character, right?
And even if you didn't walk out the show because you quit the show, what happened if during the show you became pregnant and you had to take time off? And they wrote around your character's disappearance, like you're on a long road trip or something, or they tried to hide like Felicia Rashad when she was pregnant. They tried to hide her pregnancy. Yeah, same thing. Lisa Bonet. They tried to hide in some kind of way. Like, did the show suffer because of that, or was the quality still just as good? I mean, I think there's a bunch of criteria beyond the fact. Well, she looked good.
That's more like the right, exactly. That's more like the importance to the show. You know, exactly. Right. It has to be more than just like, oh man, she's hotter than her. Oh, she's hotter than her. Okay, next round. You know, like, all right, well, let's put a criteria to it. We're not complete. We're not complete freaking male chauvinist pigs.
Right. So with that being said, I actually did start seeding them. I don't like it, but I'm going to change it. But this is right now, right? Because there's four sections. And then you got the north, the east, the south, the west.
Yeah.
So in the north, and this is today. By the time we get to do it, it very well may change.
It might be changing.
But right now, our opening battles. Okay. In the north section, we have Farrah Fawcett going up against Elijah Cuthbert. Felicia Rashad going up against Kerry Washington. Lucy Liu going up, and I still can't believe in heaven. This is only because we're going up against Heather Thomas.
Okay.
We got Jackie going up against Priyanka Chopra. Pamela Hensley against Jerry Ryan. Rosalind Sanchez versus Lonnie Anderson. Diane Carroll versus Olivia Brown. And Terry Hatcher versus Dawn Wells.
Okay.
As I said, this is right now. We're going to talk.
Just right now, we might.
This lineup very well mentioned.
Let's just go through the different regions.
Right. All right. So now in the South, we got Joan Collins versus Morgan Fairchild. Lindsay Carter versus Christy Alley. Maggie Q versus
Lindsay Carter. Do you mean Linda Carter? Oh, Lindsay Wagner.
Lindsay Wagner.
Okay.
Oh, did I say Lizzie Carter? I meant Linda Carter. Linda Carter versus Christy Alley, and Maggie Q versus Lindsay Wagner. Right.
Gotcha.
Nichelle Nicholas versus Nicole Bahare. Bernadette Staines versus Jasmine Guy. Marina Baccarin versus. See, I got a problem because I got Heather Thomas in there twice, so that got to change. So we're going to scratch Marina Baccarin now. I got Journey Smollett versus Tisha Campbell, and Jennifer Aniston versus Mary Lou Henner.
Okay.
Right. Now in the East,
including a lot of those criteria.
I think it's going. I think
Go ahead.
Yeah. Now in the East, we got Pamela Anderson versus Barbara Eden. Lucy Liu versus Erin Gray. Persia White versus Nicole Evie Parker. Lucy Lawless versus Trisha Helfer. Victoria Principal versus Heather Locklear. See, I got errors all in this thing. I got DeWanda Wise versus Jennifer Garner. Valerie Bertinelli versus Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Okay.
That's what I got right now. And then in the West, as it stands right now, is Sofia Vergara versus Suzanne Summers. Gabrielle Union, which I got to take out, so I can't count that one. Cynthia Adai Robinson versus Holly Robinson. Jessica
Robinson
Alba versus
Robinson.
Pamela Hensley. Yeah. Karen Parsons versus Kim Fields.
Nice.
Adrienne Barbeau versus Tiffany Dyson. And Jacqueline Smith versus Kelly Coco. But I'm already don't like that matchup. I really want to put Kelly Coco versus. See, I really like to put Kelly Coco versus Suzanne Summers, but I would like to see the two of them get into like the 32 and then get into that battle somewhere deeper down the line.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but it's preliminary. But we're gonna work on this some more behind closed scenes and get it right and get these matchups because at the end of the day, remember it's cutthroat. Cutthroat. I need to start putting that on a promo. We do cutthroat. And have this sign going. Cutthroat.
Yeah, it's cutthroat. Yeah. It's funny because some of these ones we talking about with this criteria, then it's like, some of them gonna get knocked out pretty early. And, you're like, oh man, because when you think about
there's always even in 64 and then end of 64, you always got that one team that got in there, but they're really like, come on, you're really not going to go up against Georgetown and win. You're just not. You're from Division 4 school, you got into the tournament, but you're not beating Georgetown. It just ain't happening. You're not beating Syracuse. You're not
right, or Duke.
Like I don't care who you are playing football. You're not beating Alabama.
Right.
Yeah, you're not beating Duke or Connecticut. You're just not.
Yeah.
It's a good possibility.
Anything can happen. It's an upset, right?
In the long run, no.
Anything can happen, but most likely you're like, nah, it ain't gonna happen. So
you're gonna be in the outside looking in. Like, what happened?
Yeah. Oh, we got a guest here. joining us. Heaven Hollywood from Heaven Hollywood Studios. What's up?
Yes, Heaven Hollywood. Listen, look, Heaven, man. If it
What's
wasn't
up,
for
brother?
you, right?
What's up?
If it really wasn't for you, Heather Thomas wouldn't even be in this thing. But you made a very valid point about Heather Thomas, and then I had to go back looking at her, and I owe you an apology. I should have put her in Nurse from Jump Street.
Open mind. I love a man with an open mind.
Yeah. Heather Thomas.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's like Heather Thomas.
I'm looking at her.
Thing.
Yeah, I mean, I found footage of her. Like, it seemed like half the time on the Fall Guy, she's rocking a bikini. Like the bulk of her time on the Fall Guy, yeah.
I love the Fall Guy too. That was my show, man. I love the.
I was watching episodes. I even found an episode with her and Marky Post are rocking bikinis, and I'm like, wow, Marky Post.
Yes,
not bad.
Yeah, Heather Thomas definitely needed to be. I know, and I love the Fall Guy. I'm surprised I didn't bring that up because I loved her in the Fall Guy, man. I love the Fall Guy. But we gotta reseed a little bit. We gotta reseed a little bit, but like I said, I don't know how much you heard, Heaven, but we kind of added some criteria to it because you can't just be like, okay, she's hotter than her next round. You know what I'm saying? Like we're adding impact, how important they were to the show. Because, like, for instance, Daisy Dukes made a clear impact on culture, on pop culture. You got a whole damn shorts named after her, Daisy Duke shorts. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She made a big impact.
Pamela Anderson because
Pamela Anderson made a big impact.
She made the red bikini, the red wetsuit.
Right.
And I think Pamela Anderson gets more credit because I think she's the one that really you had to do the slow-mo camera for her because it was just so much, and she just ran at regular speed. You're like, but you have to slow it down to see the.
You gotta slow it. Yeah, the slow-mo, the slow-mo bounce thing. No, that's what it is, and that's why I said I also brought up on another level. Felicia Rashad changed how Black women were portrayed on television. How Black wives, Black mothers, there was a different look for Black women before Felicia Rashad. After her, there became a different look. She set a new bar when she came about. So, being that Black woman, the Black wife, the Black mother, the way she looked, she was still attractive, but she was very, attractive, but not, sexy in other ways. Not, she was very mature. She was very mature, even conservative with it.
Just ain't no other
she
way.
was still sexy. She was smoking. You're like, oh, he had the smoking. What? I'm telling you, that kind of changed the whole dynamic of how Black women were seen on television as the wife, as the love interest, as the mother, right? They looked a certain way before that. When you think about Good Times, you think about Jeffersons, you think about they looked a different way then. Then you get to the Cosby Show, and then you got Claire Huxtable, successful, still beautiful, smoking, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, commands respect, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of deal changed. That was an impact she made, and then from that point on, the love interest had to be, everyone. Think about it. You have Cliff Huxtable, who Bill Cosby, but she was always portrayed because she is younger than him, so like a little younger than him, hot smoking wife. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, cool. You got other shows that came about like that. You got to make sure, you know what I'm saying? So even when they did My Wife and Kids, they kind of used that same. A lot of the shows use that same formula going forward. You know what I mean? So she made an impact, big impact.
Oh yeah, Bernie Mac show particularly. I mean,
Bernie Mac show did the same
look
thing.
At what's the name played on Bernie Mac show? She was always dressed to kill, always. Wanda.
They changed the dynamic on how they look on shows. You know what I mean? Very, very, very cool. But there's a lot of them that made impacts. Some of these people. Big impacts on pop culture. So that's part of it. Obviously, the looks is a big part of it. Yeah, but we'll get it popping. So did you say all four?
How your show did? That's all. That's all for. That's what it stands today. But like I said,
Right.
we're
And
gonna
that how your
discuss
show
this, and when
did,
we actually
like
get ready.
he's mentioned before, how your show did after you left it. Like for instance, I said with Three's Company, Suzanne Summers after she left the show was still funny, but it was funny because of John Ritter. At that point on, after Suzanne Summers left Three's
Excuse me a
Company, they
second.
were just chasing Chrissy, so to speak. After that, they were trying to figure out how can we really replace Chrissy because they didn't recast the character. So now they bringing in all these other characters. One, they tried to do the dingy thing with the cousin, who she wasn't dingy, but she was just clumsy.
They kept chasing that. They kept trying to
Chasing,
fill the void of that character. They was never successful in doing it.
Nope, they were never successful in doing it. Terry was not, Terry started doing a little more slapstick comedy with hers. They all had their thing.
She was funny. She just wasn't.
No, she was funny because she would do a little more of the slapstick. Like they all kind of fell into John Ritter's thing and kind of started doing it. Because even the girl who played Janet, started doing more slapstick comedy with it as well. But they never was able. Chrissy was still a fan favorite. She was still a fan favorite. She made that much of an impact, and obviously because with the guys, because she was smoking hot, but also, hell, the other women weren't bad either. Terry was hot, and her,
Right.
But it was just the Chrissy, Terry was hot, but there's the Chrissy character, that really made the impact, so that I have to say, stuff like that has to be taken into consideration when you got these battles going on, right? So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I think he's gonna reseed a little bit, but we'll be ready to do it. Next couple of weeks we'll be ready to launch the show, launch the tournament, and it'll pretty much be the whole show as we go and do the tournament. Through each week, we're gonna do another bracket, and try this will go on for a little bit. Yeah, so I heard you. A matter of fact, I did promo the anniversary night for Dollhouse Radio. I see that you're listed as one of the hosts, so that should be cool. I know you're ready for it. That's cool. That should be a great thing. We haven't been on Dollhouse Radio in a minute.
Wow.
So that's like a great reunion for you to
go back to some of the core is running it. Ralph, India, Angela is still right there with India, a sidekick. It's gonna be nostalgic. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it should be good, man. I did the promo. I'm gonna run it again. Just a matter of fact, let me just run it real quick, so we can. There you go. Good, nice little promo. Yeah, like I said, I'm in my temporary studio, so I don't have my applause no more. I got to get all that stuff hooked up again. But yeah, so definitely, we're promoting that. I'm gonna take part in it somewhere. India hit me up today. She wants me to do something, so I'll take part in it somehow, somewhere. And up until that point,
Good.
we'll be promoting it here. Yeah, and we'll be promoting it here, of course. Like I said, that's extended family right there. India, Dollhouse, and the whole crew over there.
So
nothing but respect for them.
Before we go on, so Mr. Terry.
Yes.
So the perfect way, instead of an apology, the perfect way for you to apologize for shunning Heather Thomas. It's perfect timing. It's getting ready to start back on Saturday. I need you to get in the power this year. We have to be able to come on here Monday and discuss power. You got Raising Kanan starting back Saturday night. Come on, Ralphie boy. Let's go.
Yeah. That's what he was saying.
I'm going to give that some thought.
Like I said, man,
Just give it a try. Just give it a try. I'm telling you, this to me is the best show of the other than Power.
Yeah, it's the best show of the series.
Spin-offs, to me, this is the best one. It's got the best acting, in my opinion. It is. And because it's timepieced, to me, it's just better storylines. There's more realistic storyline. So I'm telling you, you got to give it a shot, give it a try.
Yeah.
It has some, it has some familiar faces in there. It's got Joey Badass, who's doing a great job, on that. So I'm telling you, Ralph, what is it? You got Quincy. There you go, Quincy. Quincy is in there. Diddy stepson. I mean, adopted son.
I tell you what, I'm gonna think about it, but I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do right this second. Right, what I'm gonna do right second, simply because of the fact that you brought up Heather Thomas. That this is strictly for you, right? I'm gonna.
Are you trying to share the screen? Let me unshare my screen. Yeah.
Here she comes.
It may not work.
Wait a minute,
I think it's not going to work because I'm not in.
If he takes that off,
you should be able to. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Hold on.
No, I know why, because I'm in the wrong. I'm on the wrong part of the wrong version of this. I need to be in the version that Wes is in. That's why I can't share it, even though I loaded it. But Wes, do you see something? Oh, he's got me on mute. Do you see something down there that I uploaded? That's under my name.
Take care, brother.
No, don't hang up. Don't hang up just yet. This is just for you.
No, I'm just telling. I see Kev. I'm telling Kev, take care over there. Don't let me have to come whoop your ass.
Oh, there, yo, what's up with you in the hospital, man? What's up? I mean, we gotta send you some cookies or something. Someone to give you a massage or something. Like, what the hell? Do you want a neural massage? I could send you someone to give you a neural massage.
That'd be nice. Kev's like, actually,
my back hurt kind of a lot. I could use that about now.
I could send my girl. I get the Asian massage. I have my Asian masseuse, Umi, and then whenever she gets a massage, never mind. I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah. All right. I may not be able to share this because I'm on the wrong version. There you go. Wes, down there next to my picture, there's another file. There's a video file there. Can you see it?
Yeah. Let's see if I can share it.
Play that just for heaven. I found that clip. I was like, I'm gonna add that.
Yeah, I saw this episode not too long ago.
And in another 30 seconds, Howie's going to start drooling all
This is what I'm talking about. Y'all are on drugs.
But that's my way of saying sorry. I let that slip. You know how long it took me to actually find that one piece of her in that blue bikini, because it's in the opening credits. But I had to go through a whole episode of Family Guy to actually find that piece. Yeah, just Wes, play that again just for me and pause it when she walked through when she come out in the bikini. Pause it right there.
Smoking, man. Smoking.
Right there. Pause it. Look at that. Man.
Yeah, she's the girl, man. She was doing her thing. She was in bikini quite often on this show.
Always.
All the time.
It was straight that whole, whatever you want to call it. But
now her and the other one, was kind of bad because I think, if I'm not mistaken, their shows on at the same time. It was like they were trying to outdo each other, her and T.J. Hooker, the girl.
Yeah.
On the same time. It was like every week they were trying to outdo each other from the previous week.
Yeah, I mean that I agree. I want to do one more thing. I need to share this. That's your way of saying it.
All right,
I need to share this because we said we would. Now, Doris did not come back in the chat room. I didn't see her come back in, but I do want to share her. Let me find her thing real quick because I want to share it. It was about her her thing that she got going on. Let me find it, the flyer for it.
All right.
I want to make sure we put that up there, and we'll share it again. We can't do it next week. It'll be over by next week. That's what I wanted. I was hoping she'd come back in this week, and we bring her up on the mic and let her rock. So let me find this here. Let me share this screen. Okay. Windows, this. Boom. There we go. So here is the Arkansas. Yeah, it was Arkansas. Arkansas Martin Luther King Jr. Commission presents Back to School Bash and Youth Comic Con for Literacy. We said this once before. If I had my applause, I'd give it. So I'm just going to give it right there. Doris, she really, this is a big thing, you know what I mean? Meaning it's a wonderful thing. She's putting on a Comic Con for the youth to promote reading. Right? So it's happening Saturday, August 13th, 2022. That's this Saturday coming up. August 13th. 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the West Central Community Center Gymnasium. Says right there, live location, part of MLK statewide back to school supply giveaway. So they're giving away back to school supply. She did send me an email. This is in Little Rock, Arkansas. Free admission, free food, free school supply giveaways, vendors, panel discussion, music. Now, it don't get no more positive than this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got everything's free. You need to show up and get you some comics. They're gonna be doing. I'm sure they're gonna be selling comics, maybe giving away some comics. And like I said, they're promoting this as a comic convention, a Comic Con, to promote reading amongst the youth. So I definitely, wanted to highlight this. And here's the information right here. If you need information, if you happen to be in the Little Rock, Arkansas area, you need the information. It's here up on the screen. Here's the person you have to contact is Deshaun Scarborough. And there's the number, 888-290-KING. So obviously it's at the Martin Luther King Center, so I guess that's why that's their number. And most definitely, man, go out and support this. If you're in the area, come out, bring your child out, encourage them to read. Comic books is something I'm not a big reader. I was never a big reader, even as a youth. I read more in my youth because I read comic books. That's why I read a lot. But I never grew up to be much of a big reader, to be completely honest with you. I only read now when I have to, or if I'm reading something for, work, or I'm going to do a film based on a book, I'll read the book. But I kind of have to do that, right? But, encouraging reading. My daughter, my 2-year-old now, is trying to read. She already recognizes letters. She can spell. She can't even read, but she can spell. She can spell letters out. She recognizes the letters. She's this little inch away from reading. She can literally look at it. She says all the time, she'll say B, 2, S, M, E. Like she spells out the words. She just doesn't know how to put them together. She knows how to do the sounds. So the kids, you gotta encourage them to read, man, because it's too much of this. devices and stuff like that, and they stay on these devices, and these smartphones make you dumb. I used to always say that smartphones make you dumb, because let's be honest, and not to go off on a tangent here, but let's be honest. Can you remember any important phone numbers? I can't. Not really. I mean, most people that I call on the phone.
That's it.
Yeah,
and yours.
Yeah, all right.
I just know yours. I know.
Yeah. I know yours.
I know some phone. I know some phone numbers.
I know yours.
I know a couple people.
I know yours, Heaven. And honestly, sometimes I gotta stop and think, but then I remember it. Right. I know my wife's. I know Mel's, and that's about it. I'm ashamed to say, I don't even know my oldest daughter's number by heart, and her last 4 digits are 1111, and I still don't know. I don't know the first 3. I don't know the first 3 digits. Wow. That's bad. That's because I'm trying
to think in my head, like I'm trying to see it in my head, and I don't know it either. I know it's a 5 something. I think
5 something, but if I had a gun to my head, I'd be dead, because I think
it's a 516. Is it still 516?
I know it's 516 area. I know the area code.
I don't want a doctor, but
no, I know. I'm saying I know the area code and I know the last 4. I don't know the first 3, so I'd be in trouble, man. And I'm not gonna obviously say her number on the air, but I'm just saying her number ends with those 4 same digits, and I still don't know it. That's how bad it is. I don't know my son's number by heart. I talk to him almost every day. I don't know his number by heart, and that's bad. And that's only because it's a smartphone, but it makes me dumb. Right. Remember when we had to remember numbers, back in the day. I never carried a little black book. I remembered all my numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't ever carry one. I was that good with numbers. Anyone who was important enough for me to call, I knew their number. I didn't even have a black book. So it was falling from grace for sure. Falling from grace for sure. So
the one that always got caught. Because he walk around with a black book. You know the rules. You don't walk around with no black book, boy. What you talking about?
Exactly, man. You can't. That black book get you cut. The black book get you cooked. That's what that is. That black book gets you cooked. Yo, but like I said, to wrap that up, definitely go out and support this youth Comic-Con. Doris was came in the chat room. We support you. We definitely commend you on putting it, because she's like running. She's like really one of the heads of her community. I'm not gonna say what her position is, but she's a head, like a leader in her community, and they really kind of pushing this. So I really hope people go out to it. And if you are friends of Doris that may watch this show, go out, support it as much as you can, and we'll continue to do that. Maybe we can get her on next week, and she could tell us how it went. So that would be cool. So go out and definitely support that, because that's a good cause, man. Whenever you say kids reading, all I buy my grandkids is books. I'll buy it because all they got is electronics. So when I go out and buy them stuff, I buy their books. I'm like, actually my oldest granddaughter is getting into comics. She's interested in comics. So I'm like, I'm gonna try to, feed that interest and try to get her as many comics as I can. Hey, that's appropriate, of course, for her to read. The problem with her is she want to read the ones that ain't appropriate for her. That's the only problem. But that's just kids, right? At those ages. But man. So raise she's 10. She's 11 actually now. Mm-hmm. So so she want to read the ones that she ain't supposed to be reading. But we love her. That's all I can say. Yeah, we love her.
I want to read heavy metal. I want to read heavy metal.
Yeah, right, heavy metal.
But
I agree with Heaven on this one, Ralph. You need to get into Power, man. You don't have to. I mean, now let me ask you this, Ralph, real quick about Power. Have you seen any of them? Have you seen the original?
Yeah, I saw the original.
Okay, so you saw the original.
So
you just never got into any of the
How many
spinoffs.
seasons did you watch of the original, Ralph?
All of it.
Oh, so
you watched all of
you've
it.
seen
Okay.
it all.
So okay, so you have the foundation,
right?
Which
I
so
know some
at this
people that's on
point,
the
since
show,
you've
so
seen,
I kind of sort of had
right,
to
watch it, yeah. So okay, so at this point, since you have seen all of the originals, you could pretty much step in any one of the spinoffs. You got to start from the beginning of them, but you can step in and get the gist of what's going on because you've seen the foundation, you've seen the original. Okay, cool.
Actually, I'll
So-
be honest with you. The only reason I haven't kept up with the show is because I have cable and I cut off the Stars channel, so I don't have Stars anymore. That's the really only reason why I'm not watching it. That's the only reason why I'm not. Or else I was like Stars. I've seen like 2 episodes of P Valley, but and now with streaming, I just got too much other stuff I'm trying to catch up with to get to power out. Like I said last week, I'm still trying to catch up to all the Marvel stuff. I'm still trying to catch up to the Star Wars stuff. I still got and hell, I've had the bundle package with Disney. I have yet to activate the Hulu account. Yet to do it, but I'm paying every month for it. I have yet to activate it. So now I gotta go. I gotta do it and watch Prey. I gotta watch
when that Wu-Tang come back. You gotta activate that when
That's
that
what I'm saying.
Wu-Tang
Exactly. I got to watch the Pam and Tommy thing, and we I got Amazon. So pretty soon that's going to be the Lord of the Rings. It's like I got so much stuff to watch to just catch up to. That's really the only reason why I haven't watched
the movie Prey, the Predator prequel.
I watched.
All I gotta do is just sign into it.
It actually that girl is actually that girl.
Yeah, people are saying it's really good.
It's really good.
People are saying that it's really, really good. Yeah.
I watched it twice. It's good.
I'm gonna watch it. I heard it was really good.
But it was really, really good. But between streaming stuff and regular stuff on television, there's just so much. Like, I took a couple of days last year. No, before the pandemic, and I caught up with Warrior. I watched all the seasons of Warrior on Cinemax, and I was like, "Fuck," that was a good show, and I'm hoping they bring it back. I know there's got to be one more season up in there, but I still got I think 4 Marvel series. I just binge watched What If last week. I just had to start watching it, but I still gotta look at Loki. I still gotta look at Hawkeye. She-Hulk about to come on. Moon Knight. I'm just saying, there's just
so many of them
nowadays.
But that's why you got.
That's why I said I need a clone.
You need a clone, but
a clone.
With at least with Power, since you familiar with the first original series of it, you could jump in on any one of these series in any order.
There's a timepiece.
Well, because
I know. Raising Kanan is about Kane. Book 2 is about his son. The new one is about Tommy, who now moved to Chicago, and I think eventually he's gonna wind up in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm aware of all the stuff. Just like I said, I'm just playing catch up, and there's still stuff on Netflix that I haven't seen. I still gotta get up with Ozark and The Umbrella Academy and Amazon with The Boys. It's like
Ozark. Wasn't that over like 3 years ago?
No, it was started
Stranger Things
4 years ago.
Stranger Things. I mean, I got, and then still keeping up with movies. It's like,
you didn't watch Stranger Things yet?
I've never seen Stranger Things. Nope. Never seen it. Never seen one episode.
Get it.
Nope. Never seen one episode.
Like, I gotta catch up with Nip Tuck. I'm like, wow.
Oh no, I saw Nip Tuck.
He's joking. That's the whole point. That's how far behind you.
Hell, forget that. I never watched Mad Men. I was never interested in seeing Mad.
Yeah. No, I'm
same thing with
I gotta watch The Walking Dead. You ain't watched Breaking
Bad. No,
you never watched
I was never
Bad?
interested in it. Nope.
Oh,
I saw. I except the end. I saw how it ended.
I'm still in the middle of watching it. I'm
bro.
I go in and out.
But I never was interested to really watch The Walking Dead. That wasn't my thing. Hell, you know what I just started watching because HBO was running marathon, and they redid it this week. It's Game of Thrones. I've been looking at Game of Thrones because you know what?
I couldn't get Game of Thrones either. I couldn't get into Game of Thrones either.
Listen,
that was never that whole set in that whole time and setting, the medieval and all of that. I never got into that stuff. I don't like that. That's why I never liked Lord of the Rings. I never liked those type of movies.
When it first came on, it was 2011. I watched the first 4 episodes, and in the first couple episodes, they killed Sean Bean. I said, this show was never going to make it because you just killed the main guy. But it's lasted. So I caught it was they would rerun it because HBO is about to start the House of the Dragon, which is a Game of Thrones spinoff.
Right.
So what they did about 2 weeks ago, they started running every day. They ran one season of Game of Thrones, and I was sitting here one day watching. I was like, "Damn, I missed a lot of stuff." And then they showed.
I heard it's an excellent show. It's written well.
The Red
effects
Wedding
and everything that they do for it is great. But I just never got into the stuff. It just
the Red Wedding alone was the reason to watch it, where they having this wedding, and and it's set up because this the one king he was supposed to marry another king's daughter, and he turned his back on her, and it was involved with a handmaiden. So he went to say, "I'm sorry, I apologize," and they let them think that it's all good, you're all welcome. And they had this wedding, and next thing you know, Nas is coming out, people getting slaughtered, and then the mom was like, "Let my son go, or I will kill your wife." And the king says, "I'll just get another one." So they kill her son. She cuts the girl's throat, and she screams like, And the last image, you see someone else coming and cutting her throat, and you just see blood shooting on the camera. I was like, what the fuck is this? Game of Thrones. So now I'm interested to watch it before House of Dragon start. Every day they're showing one full season of the show. I gotta work. I don't have time to sit at home all day. And even last night, I come home last night, and what do I see on television? There's a channel called Decades. One of my favorite TV shows of all time was having a marathon, The Odd Couple. I'm up till 5 o'clock in the morning watching reruns of Odd Couple as many times as I see it. But I was up here cracking up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's my show.
That show.
I love that show.
Yeah. My brother is always.
I got the
whole series.
And they were playing some of the best ones, the ones where they thought they had a ghost, and Oscar comes in when they doing the seance with the chains. They played that one. They played the one where he had the ulcer. They played the one with Bobby Riggs. They were playing the good. They were playing the real good episodes. The one where Oscar didn't mail in Felix's insurance policy, so he challenged him to a duel of physical events. I was just up here last night cracking the hell up. The one where they show how Felix's marriage, how he destroyed his marriage trying to help Oscar's marriage.
Yeah.
The one they had jury duty. Classic stuff. The stuff that my mom sit there and say, I found this channel by after decades. It's like every day they take a classic series and they just have this marathon all day long of that particular show. So yesterday was Aquaman. I think they said next week is I wanted to say Code Red. No, I think it's Adam 66 or something is next week. Next Sunday is a marathon all day of that show. I'm like,
well, wow. They always marathon. When on the holiday, the New Year's is always Twilight Zone and the honeymoon.
You want to see something
Twilight
different.
Zone, the honeymoon is get marathon on New Year's all the time.
All right, now get this. Now, right this second, I put that channel. I got the channel listed on my TV. Right now, they're playing Cheers. Then it goes into Taxi. Then WKRP in Cincinnati. Then the Honeymooners. Then Get Smart. This Phil Silver show. Then Car 54. Where are you?
I went and binged. I binged Cheers when it went on Netflix. I binge watched it again.
I seen all the Cheers.
That was, but
another
I think that
runs Frasier.
One of the most overrated shows ever in the history of TV.
What, Cheers?
Hey,
you mean
hey, yo,
Taxi?
yo.
Cheers. I totally.
Cheers was
No, I
overrated
thought
too.
No, another.
I thought Cheers was
another-
funny, man. Cheers was hilarious to me.
Cheers was
Because the fact
overrated.
that you know what it
I
is.
thought it was
Because
good.
let's be honest.
I thought it was
From
good, but
from
then I
the
thought they made it more than what it was.
from the Jump Street, from the theme
another station's
song.
up here running
You
soap.
want to go where everyone knows your name. Everyone loves that. That's the truth. That's just like what we used to do when we go to the sports bar. You want to go somewhere where everyone knows your name.
I
You know the
definitely
person.
agree with the theme
everybody-
song. The theme song is great. I just think that the show.
I mean, but the theme song was
watching
made
it-
after the show.
Yeah. No, I thought, like I said, I think all that fit. But what I'm saying is, I just thought the show, it was a little. They made it a little better than what it was. You know what I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, kind of like, you know how Pusha T. Everyone says he's like the greatest rapper ever. I'm like, I don't see it. I didn't get that memo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
like friends in the same category as Cheers.
Right. Cheers was
I mean,
good.
I would take
but
Cheers
I
over
think they
Friends
tried
any
to
day.
put it way up here when I don't think it was way up there.
I thought Cheers was.
I would take Cheers over Friends any day. Any day.
Yeah. When I rewatch Cheers, to me it reinforced to me that it was a really good show and it was very funny. And you know, just especially once they add they had a character like that before Woody, but when they added the Woody character, that made it even more funny. I just thought it was funny. The fact that they were able to that show, there's only a handful of shows that had ever left the bar. Like that show took place primarily in that bar. Right, you know what I'm saying? And it's there was only a few sets. There was the bar and there was Sam's office. You know what I mean? And every now and then you might see Sam's apartment or someone's apartment. Like they didn't start going to where they lived at. They didn't start going into that until after Kirstie Alley joined. You kind of start seeing her place a little more or whatever. But they never really changed the set, and it was still funny. I thought it was very funny. It was a character driven show. Like it wasn't a show. Yes, Sam Malone was the main guy, but you liked all those characters. You liked the fact that every time, this is stuff that I didn't even notice till the second time I watched. Every time, what was it? Every time, what's his face came in? Norm, that was his name, Norm, or
they said Norm,
the big guy. Yeah, they all say Norm, right? And then he would answer with some sort of one-liner. Just the fact that they had to write that, and every show for every season they'd come in, hey Norm, how's it going, man? And he'd say something that basically meant, yeah, give me a beer. But you know, it was a joke. It was some sort of one-liner joke that basically meant give me a beer. That dude stayed at that bar. That dude stayed at that bar, and he was always trying to get away from his wife. He was the quintessential character. He was the quintessential a guy who just wants to drink beer and stay there all night and not go home to his wife. Yeah, it's just funny to me. But anyway, I get it. Some people can say that it was overrated. Some people say Taxi was overrated. Yeah,
but it was funny. Yeah, it definitely was
funny.
But you know what it had me thinking? That after we do this tournament, I know what the next tournament we're going to do. What's the best TV theme song of all time?
Oh,
that's
man.
next.
Well, Cheers is up there. Cheers is up there. Cheers is a great.
Cheers is it was a
Cheers.
It was
Taxi, Fall Guy. You know, that's going to be the next
one. Jeffersons. Come on, man.
The Jeffersons.
Moving on up.
The
Good
Greatest
Times.
American Hero. Yeah.
Greatest American Hero. Good Times. Even if you want to, the Brady Bunch. The Brady Bunch. You know, you gotta put in
Miami Vice, Moonlight. It's so many. It's so many for you to sit this.
That's gonna be interesting to see.
Sometime by day.
Exactly. It's that's gonna be a real cutthroat battle. You know, the Brady Bunch
Jefferson's
against
is tough. All in the Family, like those.
Oh my
Man.
God! All
Yeah.
of the family
On the
theme
Family.
song was
A Different
everything.
World.
I mean,
The second version of A Different World. That
whenever there's songs where there's a
Aretha
certain
Franklin
part
did.
of that song that you remember
Yeah.
by, like moving on up.
Moving on up.
Those were the days. You know,
Those were the days.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
knew where you were there.
And it could
Girls
be the
were
instrumental,
girls
like
and men were men.
and it could be the instrumental, like you said with Taxi. That I mean that instrumental was vicious.
Before
Hell,
its time.
one channel is up here playing Barney Miller, and I forgot about the theme song to Barney Miller. I was like, Night Court, very jazzy instrumental.
Nice
you know,
song. Well, I mean, if that's the case, Taxi,
that's going to be
Taxi
tough.
had a dope. That Taxi had a dope theme, so that was a straight jazz
Yes, it
song.
did.
That
Three's Company. The way you're doing that, Three's Company.
Oh yeah, Three's Company. I'm gonna knock them out.
Three's Company.
Oh man.
Come and knock on our door. You got Three's Company. You got There's a lot of them. They all had theme
Wonder
songs.
Woman,
Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
Gilligan's
Batman.
Island.
Oh,
So
classic.
Gilligan's Island told the exact story of what's happening. It sets you up for the show, so you can
Happy
never.
Days.
Yeah,
Happy Days. That's got to be. That's going to go.
Living
to the
Single
I'm
gotta
sorry.
be up there. You
Living
know, I mean,
Single,
there's
Living
so
Single.
many
Nice,
good
nice,
ones
nice
to
good
pick
ones,
from,
man.
and you're like, that's what I'm saying. That's going narrowing that down to 64 is going to be hard. Doing
It's
the
gonna be
battle would be
hard.
easy, but because it's like we just named like 50 different ones, and that we just scratched. We ain't count the Big Bang Theory. That ain't even made it up. We ain't even said
my
that
goodness.
one.
Yep.
You
Ain't
know,
said that.
Sex in the City, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We ain't even got to the. We
didn't
talking
got
about all
to
the
those.
classic stuff. We ain't got
Yep.
to today's stuff.
In the Heat of the Night, that was another
Yep.
one. Had a nice little theme song.
I think that's going to be another one that you're going to have to break into errors. It's going to be impossible to do. You can't do. It's got to be. You have to break it into errors.
Yeah, I mean, you have to include Friends. Friends
Color,
as well.
In Living Color.
You got to include Friends. You know,
in Living Color, man. That's gonna be tough. Yeah, that crappy show.
But it's that theme song. I'll be there for you. That's that was a big theme song, man. People know it.
I know
that was a big theme song.
You know, but even looking here, on this list of I got the girls, right? You would have to if I go theme
Dukes
song, you would
has
have
it.
to count.
Dukes has it.
Dukes has it. Charlie's Angels.
Man,
you know, the
Just
Fall Guy. Certainly Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Miami Vice, like you said, Gilligan's Island. You had to count Wonder Woman, Cheers,
Sanford
Good Times,
Sanford and
Different
Son.
World.
Yeah, Sanford and Son.
Sanford and Son. Hell, True Blood. I don't know if you would count Martin's, but maybe.
Yeah,
you know, but I'm saying that
it was a theme song.
That's a tough one. That's gonna be a real tough one right there.
You know
The
what?
Sopranos.
It's gonna be easy to delete a lot of them because most of them ain't like Sanford and Son had a groove. Like that was a whole groove. Like you could play like you could play that on a regular. Like I can hear myself listening to that on a regular basis. Taxi is another one. Barney
Taxi was a straight song. They played Taxi on CD 101.9 all the time, and I used to listen to it. And that's I'm like, damn, okay, yeah. I mean, but as far as theme songs go, here's the deal. That's obviously a theme song, and it's those type of ones. There was only a few of them that were not few, but most of the time back then they tried to write lyrics to theme songs. Most, you had the ones like like that one, like Taxi and Barney Miller and what you that didn't have that, right? That Sanford and Son. But
Yeah,
then
it's like they couldn't. How do you write words to a song about about a father and a son who sells trash?
well, you want to hear something funny? There's an old show. There's an episode of Malcolm and Eddie where what you call it? Eddie Griffin tries to write words to Sanford and Son.
Wow.
He tries to write lyrics. It is like Fred Sanford. Fred Sanford. And he was trying to write lyrics to Sanford's Son. That was hilarious. But anyway, so that'd be a great next tournament. But we'll get this one going.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap the show up. We're gonna at least go off the air, and then everybody, good looking out, coming through. Joseph, of course, holding us down. Everybody that came through and checked us out. We'll catch y'all next time. I know Ralph, he probably won't be here next week, the week after, but we'll probably have Heaven Hollywood coming in and substituting, and we lost his feed, so he's off there. But we will we'll catch y'all next week. Thank y'all. Come on back next time. You hear?
That's my